What up? What up? What up? It's Ibn Web Corona Some here. Official thing I got going on here. This one gonna be a good one here. First, I just want to say, Darrell, good looking on this. I know you threw the name out. Reached out to him, Lance Jackson. Start asking folks about him. Everybody just nice, crazy nice with it. Even a far, far, far better person. Been having an opportunity to talk to him, beforehand with all of this too, man. So he's just like, no, not a problem. Ib, got you. We'll lock it up. We'll do something, and I'll jump on. So without further ado, I'm just gonna be quiet, get Lance on, just hear a little bit of his walk. Hold tight. There we go. There we go. Peace, peace.
Peace, peace. There you go.
Thank you, man. I really, really appreciate this, man. I know we've been talking and everything else, man. Like I said, as long as we was communicating, I know we eventually get it on.
Absolutely, man. And again, man, I just gotta send my apologies to you, man. Just ripping and running life, getting old and forgetting stuff and just all kind of stuff, man. But thank you for staying with it, and keeping reaching out, man. I really appreciate that, and I'm excited about it, man. I'm humbled that you reached out to me to even talk to me, man. So real talk. I thank you. I appreciate you, brother.
Nah, thank you. And I know we probably gonna go back and forth with the pleasantries, man, but I'm the one that's humble here. Like I said, just knowing who you are and just hearing stuff, man. Like I'm just taken back. So I know we're gonna go back and forth, but I at least thought I'd say that, man. But everybody's good, family, everybody holding up. I mean, these times.
Absolutely. We blessed, man. Praise God, man. What about on your side?
Yes. Most definitely,
Beautiful.
man. Most definitely. Beautiful. I know with the coaching and everything got you running around like crazy here.
Yeah.
But, rewind it back a little bit, man, as far as just this life of Lance Jackson. Where'd it all start from?
Ah, man. I'm a simple man. I'm a simple guy, man. I was a lot of people don't know. I was born and raised, my young years, man, uptown Harlem.
Okay.
So, a lot of people don't know that. Everybody, assume that I'm, from Newark, or Irvington. But I spent, the better part of my life there. I moved to Irvington in Newark area when I was about 10, 11.
Okay, so you're from New York.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But not too many people know that. So
wow. Yeah.
That's crazy. But I rep the bricks all day. You know what I'm saying? That's what molded me. New York made me, but the bricks molded me. So I take a lot of pride in that. What else?
You only sibling?
Yeah. I'm the youngest of five, man. I'm the youngest of five.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, and unfortunately, my mom and dad, I lost a sibling. Well, each I had two brothers, two sisters. I lost one of each some years back. So it's three of us now. But that was always, that was a good thing. We grew up, in the projects, in the hood, man. So we didn't have a whole lot, but we had a lot of love.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? We had a lot of love. And I'm gonna tell you something, man. Not till I got older and realized it, I was like, wow, my mom and dad did an exceptional job, because I didn't realize we was poor. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like the way they held us down, man. And my mother, started making some moves, her and my dad, and then we moved over to Jersey. Okay. And like I said, we moved to Irvington. So I was, I grew up in Irvington and Newark. And we, slowly but surely we started, moving on up a little bit, like little Jefferson work.
right.
Moving up a little bit. But we was always, in the urban areas, and everything. And basketball wise, I started to develop a lot and started to travel and see different things. And then that journey, took its course, man.
Before you got to the with that rock there, man, was there any other interest you had as far as any other sports or just any other interest even as a kid?
Sports wise, man, I did pretty much every sport. Like
Okay.
I just love, the activity of it. So baseball, football, I don't know, but a lot of people say I'm better in football and baseball than basketball.
Okay.
So I don't know. I love them all equally. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Um, Basketball, I don't know. I just happened to stay in that lane. I guess I was around it a little more, even though we played football a lot, played baseball a lot.
Okay.
Run. I had a lot of family members who were in track, so I ran track. So I did a lot of sports. A lot of activity. Just basketball because my dad was a basketball guy,
Okay.
and he played football and other sports too, but I think because we were so connected to basketball, and then a lot of his friends were NBA guys that
Mm.
I met coming up and all of that. So that just kind of naturally and organically, just took its course. And I feel like some stuff just pushed me to basketball. When I was playing football going into high school, me and my coach got into it one day and he kicked me off the team because I
Okay.
wouldn't run for something I
Yeah.
didn't. It was a punishment that I didn't do, and I was like, I don't think that's fair, Coach. I got to run. And he was like, Well,
Hmm.
you gonna get off the team if you don't run. And I was like, I ain't do nothing wrong. So I was like, well, I don't think I should run. So that kind of pushed me away from football, and then I just said, well, you know what? I'm gonna just concentrate strictly on basketball. So it was just basketball from there.
What position you played in football?
Um, I played running back.
Okay.
I played cornerback.
Okay.
I played receiver.
Hmm.
Um, I receiver and cornerback I love the most. Even though coming out the backfield, I love that juking, running, hitting the
Yeah.
holes, and all like that was fine. But I just love defensively. Like y'all can't throw the ball in my area. Like
Oh.
I'm not allowing you to throw the ball in my
Oh.
area.
Even back then had a little Lance Allen, huh? Nobody went over there. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Y'all can't throw it over here. And it was funny because I was a little guy, but I was athletic. I could jump. I was strong.
Hmm.
I liked to hit. And then because I played receiver, I had really good hands.
Okay.
So my thing was, if you put that ball up here, we going the other way. This is pick six all day long. Don't throw it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that was fun. But my dad didn't want me to play football because he was like, man, I don't want you to get hurt, mess up your
Okay.
basketball career,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I used to sneak and still play football and all of that.
Hmm.
Then college came calling. I actually tried to sneak and play in college, and my college coach was like, yeah, all right, if I catch you down to that field again, we're gonna have a problem.
Yeah. 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 Now, Irvington. Where in Irvington you grew up at?
um, I first moved to what is it called now? Well, it was the Marshalls when I was living over
Hmm.
there. The
Okay.
Marshalls. It's what is it now? Maple Gardens, I think that's
Maple.
what it's called now.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Maple Gardens. So that was our first stop, and then we moved over by 18th Ave, so Vailsburg area.
Hmm. Okay.
So grew up right behind Vailsburg Park. So that
Hmm.
so that that's my home park right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, even with all that, organized wise, what did you play at as far as I know you mentioned football, you even mentioned baseball, basketball. Remember your first organized team you played on?
The first team that I played on, um, was it the I think that was I named the Mustangs, I think, but it was in a league called Boys of Yesteryear in New York.
Mm.
Um, Spanish cat named Tony Rosa, man, that's my guy. He the one who actually put the basketball in my hand. I was a little fella,
Okay.
and he put the ball in my hand because I was a little kid in the projects running around with the ball, and he was, oh, that little Lance, he be out here, he be
Hmm.
playing.
Hmm.
So I couldn't have been more than 6'7", maybe 6'7", 8
Yeah.
tops.
Okay.
And he brought me to play with the older kids.
Mm.
And I'm like, yo, they old, they big. He was like, so what? You ready?
Hmm.
So he, took me out, had me playing. I was scared. I remember being scared to death when he
Yeah.
put me in the game because I was just happy sitting on the bench.
Hmm.
The guys who were older, who I looked up to, and I was like, oh man, they nice, they great. So he put me in the game one day, and I'm looking, and I'm shell shocked like a deer in the headlights,
Yeah.
just looking
Yeah.
around, and they threw me the ball, and he like, go do something, and I remember a cat just walked up to me and just snatched it out my hand and just went down court.
Hmm.
And he like, yo, what you doing? Come on. And I'm just like, I'm stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, give it back to him, give it back to him. So he give it back to me. I'm still nervous.
Okay.
And he was like, just shoot it, do something. And I threw it up and it went in. And everybody started screaming and cheering.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I like this. Yeah.
I kind of liked the way that felt. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hold on. So I got it back and I scored again. After that, I said, oh, this is what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a wrap after that. So and I just grew and developed from there. But that was the first team, organized team I ever played on. Coach Tone Rosa. Actually, him and his brothers, they have a program, a wonderful program in New York now called New Heights.
Okay.
So they've been doing it for years, man. All the top ball players that came through his programs and all of that, man. So I'm so indebted to him and his family, man, for looking out for me, man, and giving me my start.
Yeah. And then you came over on the other side of the tunnel here. Where did you start playing at?
Yeah, came over here. I went to Berkeley Terrace.
Mm-hmm.
So started playing and they had some I never forget, first day of gym class, I walk in and they playing ball. So of course they don't know I could play a little bit. So I'm watching and they like, yo, you want to play? We need an extra man. You want to play? I said, I don't really play too much. All right. Yeah. So I jumped in, and they swing passing the ball around or whatever, and it came back. So I started playing with the ball. I was always a pretty good ball handler. So I'm playing with the ball and doing all kinds of stuff. And kids my age, most kids weren't doing that, and like I said, I learned it because I was young playing with older kids. Okay. So, I was a little more advanced. So they like, yo, what is all that? What you doing? This and that. So the gym teacher, who was the basketball coach, was like, oh, hey, you come here. Come over here. Mm-hmm. And then that's how people started to know me from, when I got over here. So he started bringing me to the high school. I was in 6th grade. He started bringing me to the high school practices and all the little summer league and weekend stuff they had, and the PAL stuff and all of that stuff. So it was, a natural progression, as far as that was concerned. And, just continued to grow, man, from there.
Yeah. So even with all that going on and you got growing up, you trying to, teenager and all this other, and this high school thing come around. Where do you wind up going initially?
I went to Irvington, right? Mm-hmm. I went to Irvington High School. So by this time, the younger kids coming in from, middle school, junior high. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I was already familiar with the coach from 6th grade. So he was my high school coach as well. And so we transitioned to high school. So, we go, playing freshman and all that. And me and 2 other guys, we got moved up to varsity.
Okay.
Which was crazy because at my time, underclassmen, especially freshmen, didn't play varsity. Mm-hmm. So it was me, my man Eric, and my man Torn. He moved us up. But we didn't, I ain't going front. We ain't play or nothing like that. I was just happy to be up there, sitting on the bench with them. We had a really good team. One of our guards, Robert George, man, like my big brother, tremendous player. I just looked forward to playing against him in practice because he was like a god to me. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm gonna pick his brain and just learn everything I can from him and the other guys, the upperclassmen. And I was a little young guy, I ran around and followed all of them. So I loved it. Going to their summer leagues and all of that stuff. So I'm doing my thing freshman, but like I said, we're still playing, varsity and, getting to sit on the bench and see that kind of stuff. So that was great. That helped us a lot. So playing freshman and everything, I can honestly say I got humbled early, because I was a kid. Like I said, I was a little advanced for my age or whatever. So when you young and, people telling you can play and all of that, sometimes it gets to your head and you stop putting in the work. You stop working. Mm-hmm. And so I remember, we had a new kid come in. This is my guy. It's my dog. Kid named Lakeem Lanier. He came in and nobody knew him. Little guy, left-handed, had a funny, awkward looking left hand shot. So coach is like, yeah, we got a new kid just came in, y'all welcome him, this and that. So we, how you looking at the new kid, like,
Oh
who's this
yeah.
guy, whatever. So I remember, we finally start playing and he going to work. And we like, yo, my man, nice. So I'm like, oh, all right, man, him gonna get the rock out, blah, 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 blah. So after a couple of weeks, coach ended up taking me out of the lineup and put my man, not put him in. He my other guy who I was originally starting with, my man Shelton.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, coach, what's up? What you doing? And he was like, well, I need both of them in because defensively, like offensively, you do what you want to do. Like you sharp. But defensively, you're not giving me the effort that I need them to play defense.
Mm.
And so I was like, oh man, nah, man, you young. That's a bruise to your ego.
Now, what year are you during this? What year?
This was my freshman year.
Okay.
So this was my freshman year. So even though I got moved up to varsity, now I'm going through this on a freshman team.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, man, whatever, But it humbled me. See, when we were coming out, even whether you like something or not, we listened.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We were disciplined. We listened. So I didn't like it, but he was showing like, look, both of them are out there playing hard. They're doing this. They're doing that. So I need you, along with what you can do offensively, I need you to put that same effort in defensively. When you're young, you don't really know. You ain't think about defense because that ain't the glorious part of the game. Everybody want to know who scored, who did this, who did that. So, I was doing the same thing. So I'm upset, but I'm watching, I'm paying attention. So I started to see what he was talking about. So, okay, so I got to play a little better defense or whatever. So, got that together. And, so then, we move on. Sophomore year, played mostly like JV and stuff, little varsity. Going into our junior year now, varsity. Now the reins is being handed over. It's our time now.
Okay.
Because all the great players that was before us, they done graduated and moved on. So now we the next group. So something strange kind of happened in that transition. So me and my guy Kimi, he ended up being ineligible and stuff like that. So me and a couple of my other guys, we holding the fort down. And I don't know, but my relationship with our head coach kind of started to sour. And me and him never really had a conversation as to why. But the best of my knowledge, I could only guess what it might have been. What I personally believe is that the guards that was in front of me, like I said, I was always chasing behind them, carrying their bags. Like I was that kid. So when they used to get into little disagreements with the coach, they would always threaten to go to Elizabeth High School.
Oh, okay.
Because Elizabeth was sharp at that time. So, and Elizabeth had already taken a lot of our big dog players. Big bro Mike Goodson, Chris Gatlin, Luther Wright, Isaac Morgan, like all of our guys who were Irvington cats.
Luther's from Irvington?
Yeah.
That I didn't know that.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of, they were winning with a lot of our guys. So my coach couldn't stand that. So my man Rob knew that was one of his triggers. So when he get mad at him, he'd be like, man, I'm transferring to Elizabeth. And it would drive him bonkers. But because I was always up under Rob and them, I guess he figured that I would do that. I don't know, because Rob never went to Elizabeth. He just used to make threats and mess with him. But I don't know. So somehow, somehow the transference got to me, and we just kind of just wasn't seeing eye to eye. And and I was always a good kid. I didn't argue. I didn't go back and forth with coaches. I wasn't taught that way. Respect. Even if you don't agree, you be respectful. You listen. Whatever. So I dealt with whatever, even if I felt it was unfair. So one day though, I went to him. I said, Coach, listen, man, I don't know really what's going on, but I feel like you may not really want me here. And that's okay. Like, that's fine. Like, things happen. I said, but if you don't, then maybe I should transfer and go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I think all he heard was, oh, you trying to go to Elizabeth too? That's what you trying to do? Now, I never said nothing about Elizabeth. I wasn't even thinking about no Elizabeth, but I think that's what he thought.
Mm-hmm.
So, which was the furthest thing from my mind.
Yeah.
And so I was like, maybe I should go somewhere else, where, I'm not hindering you. Me and you don't have no beef or whatever. I get to go move on and, play and have some fun, and, we call it, a career here, so it's all good. No hard feelings, man. And he was like, oh, so you going to try to do what everybody else did? He started going off. And I'm like, man, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, so he ended up, I would have stayed. I ain't had no problem with staying. I just wanted to know where his mind was with me. What was his plan with me? I'm going into my junior year, got a senior year coming up. Like, we trying to get to school. Like, us is different. We playing like this is our future. This is survival for us. So, even though it's a game, this is life. Like, so this not a joke to us. So I can't afford to have you altering my future like that. So, and I would have been glad to stay. So he says, well, I tell you what, you could leave, but if you leave, you ain't gonna play nowhere else.
Mm.
So I'm like, wait, huh? I'm like, so when he made that threat to me, like it really turned me off. I'm like why would you tell me that? You know what I'm saying? Like I never did nothing wrong to you. Why would you even threaten me like that? So I said, okay, you know what, coach? If that's how you feel, then I don't think this is the best place for me. I decided to go. He's like, all right, okay, whatever. So I ended up going the West Side because one of my backcourt partners from AAU, Tariq Goodman, was over there, which he ended up transferring to North Tech,
right?
And turned it out over there. But I still had a couple of partners, my man Buddha and all of them over at West Side.
Mm-hmm.
So I transferred. I go to West Side. So now it's a lot of hype. Oh, Lance coming to West Side. Oh, it's gonna be crazy over here. Blah blah blah. So we all excited. We're practicing. When I first got there, Coach Mo Layton, Gary Taylor, and all was our coaches. Yeah. And those my guys, man.
Yeah, I had them. I had both of them. I got fortunate. I had both of them on. Yeah.
Oh, word? Yeah. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. Love those guys, man. Yeah. And so I get over there. We practicing. We preparing for the upcoming season. So, but my transcripts and all of this stuff was taking forever to come over to West Side. So they wasn't even sure what year I was in. I was going into a senior year, but they never sent my senior stuff. So they were only able to get access to my junior records. They didn't even have my senior records yet. So they're like, well, nah, Lance, we'll get it straight. Don't worry about it. So fast forward, tryouts, go through all of that. We get the opening night. I think we're playing Parsippany Hills, I believe it was. My man Glenn Secunda.
Glenn Secunda, Syracuse, yeah.
Yes, sir. So I think we playing them opening night. So we all hyped, we excited. Come out, I'm one of the point guards. So we come out with the ball, we run around, do our thing, whatever. We come back in for the team talk and then to go out, for the final little layup line and, all of that. So as we're getting going over the little scouting report or whatever, I see Mr. Potts, our principal. He came in and I see him talking to Mo and them. And you know how you just get a awkward feeling. I had a feeling in my gut. I don't know what it was. And as I'm looking at them as they're talking, and I see them keep looking at me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, something ain't right, something off. So when we get ready to run out, Mo like, Lance, hold up. Give Buddha the ball, let Buddha and them run out. And I'm like, well, come on, I'm gonna run out. He's like, nah, let them go. I gotta talk to you. I'm like, come on, coach, what's up? Yeah. And he was like, he said, yeah, they just told me. He said, don't get upset, don't worry about it, but all your transcripts and all that stuff isn't here yet. So they're not going to allow you to play yet. So I'm like, coach, come on. Like, he said, don't worry about it. I'll call Lamar. We'll get it straight. We'll be good. So I'm sick because I'm
Oh,
like,
of
this
course.
is a big game. He about to go to Syracuse. Man, look. So got to go sit in the stands, whatever. So the next day they calling nothing, nothing, nothing. I'm gonna fast forward. You know when my record showed up?
Boy.
The last game of the season.
Mm.
The last game of the season, my records show up. Mo come to one of my classes, Coach Lane come to one of my classrooms. And he was like, hey, guess what? Guess what came today? I said, don't tell me that. He said, yep, came today. He was like, and we had a game. He was like, you want to play? I was like, for what?
Mm-hmm.
We're good as playing in one game. Like I missed the whole season. So, so I didn't even bother to suit up.
Now let me ask, through all of that, you still attended school, everything else. I mean, where was you at? I mean, if you could think back then, like
oh
this,
no, I could because I gotta
where's your head at back then, man?
listen. And I'm about to touch on that because this is a part of my story that I share with a lot of my young people. And this is deep. So going through that, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you young, we don't know how to communicate, with people about what we're feeling and our emotions and stuff like that. So I'm hurt. I'm sure I probably was depressed, but I don't know none of this
Right.
stuff at the time. I just know I'm feeling some kind of way. I got this burning thing in me, this just because I was always a good kid. I always got good grades or whatever. But now I'm like, what good is being a good kid? What good is that doing? You know what I'm saying? If I'm dealing with all of this stuff, I could see if I was a bad kid, but I'm not, and I'm still going through this. So now I start rebelling. I just start doing silly stuff,
Yeah.
staying home from school, cutting school, this, stuff like that. And it just became a bad habit. I was in a funk. And I remember even some of my closest friends, my nearest and dearest friends, they'd be like, yo, what you doing, bro? Like you bugging. Like I wasn't missing a day here and there. I was missing weeks at a time. I might not go for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. And my mother and father, they worked or they left early in the morning. I was
Okay.
a latchkey kid. So I took care of myself in the morning, got myself together, whatever. My older brothers and sisters, they out the house by now. So
Right.
my next closest sibling is 10 years. So
Mm-hmm.
they already going, no, it's a wrap. So when my mother and them leave the house, I'm staying in bed. You know what I'm saying? I call my guys, yo, man, I'm hanging out. Now. Yo, y'all ain't going to school. Y'all come through. You know what I'm saying? Or, get your little girlfriend. Yo, y'all come over. Let's
Mm-hmm.
watch movies. Just little silly stuff. Just being a knucklehead. And I remember when it started to catch up to me, the coaches, principal, ADs, everybody like, yo, Lance, what you doing, man? Like you blowing it. And I'm like, well, what's the use? Like, I've been being a good guy this whole time,
Yeah.
and this is what people are doing. So I might as well just be a knucklehead. Like I might as well do it. They like, nah, I don't think about it like that. We all have, hard times, whatever. So everybody's trying to pour into me and talk, keep me on the straight and narrow. And thank God I wasn't in the streets doing nothing crazy and nothing like that. But it was just the school aspect, missing school and what have you. And so I remember one time I get a phone call. Like now I got guys in my house, girls in my house, we partying, hanging out.
Yeah.
And I get a phone call, right? I answer the phone. I'm thinking it's one of my mans, like, yo, I'm about to come over.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, yo, where you at? And he said, you better get your ASS to school right now. And I was like, oh, it was Coach rest his soul. It was Coach Lynn Archibald from Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
That was my guy. So he said, listen. I said, oh no, Coach, I ain't feeling well. I'm a little sick. He said, look, I ain't got nothing else to say to you. He said, have your bleep at school when I call in 20 minutes. He said, "Oh, you ain't got to worry about school or nothing no more." He said, "I make sure I call everybody who recruit you and tell them you ain't gonna make it. You ain't even worth the time."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, "Yo," and he banged on me, hung up, click. I said, "Yo, y'all ain't got to go home, but y'all got to get up out of here.
Yeah, yeah,
Y'all
yeah.
got to go."
Yeah.
And I ran to school. I'm like I said, I lived on right off 18th Avenue in Myrtle.
Mm-hmm.
I ran all the way to West Side High School, full speed. I'm gone. I never forget it. As I'm running up South Orange Avenue and I'm walking up the walkway to go into West Side High School, going the front doors, I never forget the feeling that came over me. I said, "Yo, I'm a loser." This is
Mm.
what I said to myself. I said, "I'm a loser. I'm headed for nowhere." And I always hated that phrase, park legend. I always hated that
Okay.
phrase. And I was like, this is where I'm headed if I don't get it together. So as I'm walking up the walkway, they open the doors. It was like a movie scene. They open the
Mm.
doors. Mr. Potts, um, Mr. Hooper, my homeroom teacher, my man Dave Glover, one of the guys who raised me in basketball. His mother was a teacher there, his mom. So everybody was there. And they looking at me, Ib, and they shaking their head like,
Yeah.
yo, I was so low, man. I was like, man, I'm just letting everybody down, man. Like I felt horrible. So
Mm-hmm.
they like, man, go in the office and sit down. So I'm sitting there and they were like, what you gonna do, man? Like, what you gonna do? You blowing it. Like, what are you gonna do? And I'm giving it all these excuses and all that. They're like, man, we don't want to hear that. What you gonna do? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, if this is the road you gonna go down, then do it. Like, make a choice. Either you gonna do it like this or you gonna do it like that. But we ain't about to sit here and go back and forth with all this nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And then the phone rings. So it's Coach Archibald. So Mr. Potts answers the phone. Like, yeah, he here. Give me the phone. He going in. And I'm just like, yeah, Coach, you right. So I get a phone back to Mr. Potts. So they said, so what's the plan? What we gonna do? Now mind you, if I done missed so many days now, I can't graduate.
Yeah.
So I gotta come back and do another year. But you know, me being a knucklehead, see now they call it reclassing and all that stuff now. People staying back
So, but you staying
one, two,
back then, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's staying back then. And
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I can't come back with the kids behind me. That's gonna look crazy. I'm like, nah, I ain't doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And they like, well, like, who are you to tell us what you not? You the one that messed up. Are you giving us, directives about what you going to do and what you not going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I said, man, they got to be another way. I can't come back with the people behind me, yo. I said, well, I can't.
Yeah, yeah.
So I remember Miss Glover. She said, well, I tell you what. She said, maybe he can test out. So I said, well, what's that? She said, you would have to go take the GED portion, like, take the test and blah, blah, blah. And then it's basically your high school career wrapped up in the test. If you can
Mm-hmm.
pass that, you can test out. So I was like, all right, let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what I did, I couldn't go right into school because I didn't, even though my grades were good, I wasn't there
Right.
half the time. So I'd had to go to JUCO anyway. So my coaches, Brian Crawford,
Before you, yeah, it's interesting you about to bring up B. My question would be: you talked to obviously the whole Arizona State thing, so the whole recruiting trail and everything else. How did that jumped off from playing AAU and
yes,
everything else? So how did all that come about with the schools here? Though you didn't play your senior year.
and that's why I love AAU. I know it's watered down, it's saturated, it's a lot of not so nice people involved with it,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of unscrupulous things that go on, but it saved my life. So I love what AAU is about and what it was implemented to be.
Mm-hmm.
I love that about it, right? So because I'm playing Newark Rams with Coach B,
Mm-hmm.
and we going all over the world playing against everybody, beating up on a lot of people. So this is my time to make up for not playing in high school. So I'm out here like a rabid dog. If I'm
Yeah.
going at everybody, so whoever was supposed to be somebody, they was getting it. They
Hmm.
was getting it. We talking 40s, 50 balls. Like you getting it.
Hmm.
Like I didn't have the high school career behind me. You know what I'm saying? I had that cushion. So I got to prove to everybody out here on this circuit that, I can play a little bit. I deserve what some of these guys deserve.
Yeah.
So I had a real big chip on my shoulder. And so I got a lot of attention, from that.
Okay.
So when coaches are, a lot of, Big East schools and like, I had a lot of schools. So because when they start checking on you, they start finding out, oh, academically, this kid is not sound. He's not ready yet.
Hmm.
It could have been SAT, it could have been this, but you heard my story. So I definitely had to go JUCO. So now the junior colleges are calling. So now we're kind of sifting through which junior college that I would possibly want to go to. And so I'm getting all the best of the best junior colleges. I ended up going to College of Southern Idaho, CSI, out in Idaho, which we were number one in the country both my years. But you know, the Vincennes and the Alleghenies and the
Yeah.
San Jacintos and like all the big time schools are calling. So,
Did you
coach,
consider? Did you apologize? Did you consider prep
yeah,
school?
we did consider prep. We did. We did
Okay.
consider prep. Um, why did I end up? Because a couple of my guys, my man, my backcourt partner D Rock, he ended up going to MCI. He went to prep. Um,
Mhm.
we had a couple cats go to Oak Hill,
Right.
stuff like that. Um, Cheshire Academy, and it was another one where the two. I can't remember who the other one was. It was Cheshire Academy and another prep that I was looking at. My man Jamal Faulkner and a
Hmm.
couple of guys was it Cheshire. Uh, I can't think of the. Well, I don't know why I can't think of the other one right now. But I was like,
Yeah.
I ended up, I was like, nah, I just
Because
go,
I know
I
that
just go
kept
JUCO.
that would have kept all 4 years. That's why I was asking that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what it is? I think it was because I really didn't understand how it worked.
Okay.
I wasn't too sure about it. It was still it was like a post grad year of high school.
Right. Right.
I was already in a funk with the whole high school situation anyway.
Okay.
So I was like, nah, I'm just getting away from this whole
Mhm.
thing. So I was like, you know what, I just go to junior college and just do it that way. So
So the junior college, just to go back to what you're talking about, you had to take the test. Did you wind up having to do the whole GED thing?
right,
Okay.
right. So I gotta take that. And Coach Archibald from Arizona State was the one that hooked me up with CSI
Okay.
because him and that coach Trinkle was real tight. My coach is CSI. So now they like, okay, you're gonna test out. I said, okay. So they give me like a month to prepare, to study and do all of
Mhm.
that. So they tell me, look, you got to go down to Essex County, go to the bookstore, get the booklet. They call down there, set everything up. So all I got to do basically is just study, show up, take the test. So I had about 4 weeks to prepare. So I get the materials, I'm studying. So I happen to call. I called back. I said, yo, when is the next available testing date? And they was like, so let's say it was on a Monday. Let's say I
Mhm.
call on a Monday. They was like, yeah, it's one this Thursday, the following Wednesdays. And so they giving me the rundown. So I said, it's one this week. They was like, yeah. So I'm like, can I take that one? And they was like, well, what's your name? So I give my name. They like, well, you're scheduled to take it in 4 weeks
Yeah.
from now. I'm like, but nah, they said that I could do it now, blah, blah, blah. So they're like, you sure? Did you study, blah, blah, blah? I'm like, nah, I'm good, I'm good. So they was like, all right, I talked them into switching me.
Okay.
Now, nobody knows that I'm doing this. Everybody else is, thinking I'm
Mhm.
taking it, in 4 weeks or whatever it was. So I done switched it to Thursday. I'm studying or so-called studying, looking through this stuff. And it's so much that you're trying to cram in. So I'm overloaded. I'm like, man. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna just take it. Whatever it's gonna be, it's gonna be at this point.
Mhm.
I'm gonna make it or I'm not. Whatever. So I'm just frustrated. I'm just like I'm a young kid. I'm trying to process all of this.
Yeah.
My future is look like it's going out the window. So I'm just erratic at this point. Um. So I go that Thursday, I go take the test or whatever. So I get there, they sit down, the first part is 3 hours, however long it is or whatever. If I go sit down, I'm going through the test. I just fly through the test.
Mm-hmm.
I get up, I go take it to the lady. So the test the first portion was like 3 hours.
Mm.
I was done in like 35 minutes. So I take it to the lady. So the lady said, excuse me, sweetie, what are you doing? I was like, I'm done. She was like, oh, no, 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 no. She said, she said, oh, nah, you got like another 2.5 hours. She was like, sweetie, that can't be right. She said, go sit down and look back over it. She said, please. So I said, all right, I go sit down, but I'm just sitting there, I'm just looking around. And I'm like, just looking at everybody else, counting
Mm-hmm.
time. I get back up. I said, man, I go back. I said, hey, here you go, ma'am. I'm done. She was like, son, like, are you sure? Like, what are you
Mm-hmm.
doing? I said, ma'am, if I don't want to go sit and start changing answers and doing this and that, second guessing what I already did. I said, if I don't know it now, me going to sit back down ain't going to change that. It's not going to make me magically know it.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, yeah, you can go ahead and check it. So she shaking her head. She like, oh Lord. So so she get it. So at this point, they was grading them like right there, and they got the Scantron sheet. And they got the grid that goes over it,
Mm-hmm.
and they just check them. So she's sitting there, she's checking. So as she's checking them, if she making noises, she's like, oh my God. Like, so as she's doing that, going through my test, I'm like, good Lord, I done did
Yeah.
that bad. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
So I'm really embarrassed. She gets halfway through it and she puts the pencil down and she goes, young man, why are you here? I said, huh? Like, what do you mean? She said, why are you here? I said, I don't understand. She said, I'm only halfway through your test and you've already got the required score that you need. So I'm asking you again, why are you here? Because if you're this sharp to just do this like this, she was like, there's something's off. And I said, I messed up. I said, I messed up. And that at that point, I was at my crossroads. It was that moment where I said, I got to make a choice what I want to do with my life, man. It's either ball or I'm going to be on the block. Because I'm one of them people, I wanted to be the best at whatever I do. So I said, either it's going to be sports or I'm going to end up hustling on the street and I'm going to be Nino Brown or something. Like, it's going one way or the other.
Yeah.
So at that point, I remember like having an epiphany, like, yo, come on, you got to get it together. And so it was a lot of shame with it, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't never run from nothing. I was like, I did it, I made the bet, I line it. But the joy is going to come when I get out of it.
Yes.
So now I'm looking at all the ones who doubted me, all the ones he ain't going to be nothing, all the old, we had some coaches who he ain't going to be this, he ain't going to be that. I said, I'm going to enjoy proving them wrong now.
That's right.
So once I knew that I was passed, I ran home. I called coach. I said, Coach, I did. I passed. He's like, you passed what? I said, I took the test. He was like, what test? The GD test. He was like, you ain't supposed to take that test. I said, yeah, I changed it. So he was mad, but I said, I passed it. He was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So when you ready to come? I said, I'm ready to come as soon as possible. Get me out of Newark as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
He said, say no more. So they got together. Soon as school let out, I was out.
Okay.
I was out. Went out to Idaho. And I remember touching down out there, like, what am I doing out here?
Because that was your first time out there, no visit, anything.
I did take a visit. I
Okay.
did take my visit. But it was just like, what am I doing? Like, like, what am I doing out here? Like, but it was the best decision of my life. You know what I'm saying? And I knew I wanted to get away from here because everybody was trying to keep me this way. And I was like, nah, I need to get away from here. This is why I'm in the position I'm in.
Right.
You know, I got to get away from here. Once I got away, I ain't want to come back.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't want to come back once I got away. And that's then my basketball career really began.
Yeah. Now, who's out there, man? Again, you talk about this number one team in the country. Like, who you playing with when you get out there? Competition. Was it obviously, like, I know I'm nice, so this ain't gonna be no problem, or you earned your stripes.
Yeah, but we definitely earned my stripes. But I didn't even know like we was gonna be loaded like that.
Yeah.
Now I knew we were going to be good. I know the coach there, Coach Fred Trinkle, he was a legendary coach. But I'm like Idaho, he probably just had good kids from that area
Yeah.
and was just winning. When I get out there, Idaho, you think of a lot of little white kids and stuff like that.
White kids and potatoes.
Absolutely right. When I get there and go to meet the team, it's all brothers from every hood and every hood off from pretty much the East Coast. And I'm like, hold up. How this man get everybody down here like this? Had some California kids, some Oregon kids, but the best of the best from those cats. So we had a team full of all-American guys who could have been at Duke, Carolina, Syracuse, Georgetown. They all just messed up their grades and ended up here. So it was crazy. And I used to look at teams' face when they about to play us, and they walk in and they see us, and they like, "Oh nah, what's that?" And we were beating people bad, bad. Like we beat the number 2 team in the country by 50, and they were good. Like they were good. But we was a different animal. Like we was I think we lost maybe 5 games in 2 years. Or something like that. So, we were the Duke, North Carolina, whatever, of junior college.
Okay.
At that time. So met some great ball players from all over. My big bro Craig Tyson, he was from Camden, but he had moved down to Baltimore. So he came up with like Sam Cassell and all of them.
Yeah.
He's a straight killer. He was gonna go to NC State, but his grades, he was the next. They was calling him the next MJ. Like he was a killer. 6'4.5", 6'5", guard forward, monster. Had another cat out of Stockton, California, Clayton Johnson. That was my guy. 6'6", 6'7", wing, shoot the ball, bounce, jump out the gym, just crazy. We had a big guy, big LeRae Shepard from Oregon. He was one of the first bigs, 6'8", 6'9", could do it all, shoot the ball, go to the basket, handle pass. Just did a block, everything you put up, he blocked.
Yeah.
Like crazy. We had a white boy, he was my roommate for a minute too, Paul Jarrett, PJ, 6'8". If you see him, you would be like, somebody in his family got to be black.
Yeah.
He one of those. He come from a small town from Washington State called Ilwaco, one of them towns where everybody know everybody. The locksmith is the sheriff, the deacon, the this, the that. Like he one of them kind of towns. I don't know where he got the kind of game he had from, but he was 6'8". What Luka is now, he was doing that.
He's doing that. Okay.
Back then, shoot it, pass it, swag. Like it was incredible. Like just seeing talent from all over the world, come together, like that. So when we got to practice, like you had to earn yours.
Okay.
It was like there wasn't no cakewalk in there. You had to earn yours, and so.
Now that you did. Now you talk about all these guys here, but you walking away. I know you're gonna be a little humble here, but like the All-American honors and all this other stuff here. So your game, you did what you needed to do.
Absolutely, and I'm gonna tell you something else, man. It taught me a lot about basketball because it taught me. Like I said, I could score. Like I pretty much could do whatever I wanted to do on a basketball court. Like I worked hard in order to be able to do that. And the way that I was raised, it was you have to be able to do everything on a basketball court. If I'm a natural righty, but it was whatever you do with your right hand, you got to be able to do with your left hand.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Got to be able to shoot that ball. Got to be able to pass the ball. You got to be able to affect the game in different ways. So that was drilled in me from a kid. I don't like to use the word unstoppable, but the people that raised me was like, you have to be able to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
You want them to say, okay, you know what? Lance going to get his regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Let's stop the other four. So that was my mentality. That was my work ethic. When you can handle the ball and get by people, they're going to back up. So you got to be able to hit that jump shot. You
Yeah.
know, keep them honest. Bring them in. You got to be able to keep everybody else involved. You have to be able to lead. So me going there with all this great talent, I wasn't needed to get 40 or 50 every night.
Mm-hmm.
I got guys all over who come from doing that.
Yes.
So if we all out here going crazy, we can't win that way. No matter how much talent we have, you can't win that way. So I sacrificed my scoring, which I was fine with. Man, I could get creative, go to the basket. I'm dropping it off.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
diming them up. And then I get a chance. Okay, now I'm playing defense 94. I'm locking up
Mm-hmm.
on everybody. And I went through a situation there where this coach said the same thing to me. He said, yo, I need you to give me more defensively.
Okay.
So in my mind, I'm like, Coach, I'm playing D. He said, no, but I know you can give me more.
Mm.
So immediately what happened, it took me back to what I was telling you in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, even though I didn't like it, because he ended up taking me out the lineup to prove a point.
Mm.
He took me out the lineup one time. Same as in high school. Put my boy Dave in. My boy Dave Kaysen from Baltimore. Tremendous guard, leader, played tremendous defense. Matter of fact, where's Dave now? Dave coached in North Carolina, Texas. Like he's coaching big time now. So shout out to my brother Dave Kaysen. But he put Dave in, right? So he like, I want you to watch Dave. I want you to watch how the tempo switches defensively when he's in. So I'm in my feelings, but I'm watching, I'm paying attention, and I saw it. I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Like it goes up a couple levels when he comes in and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, that's what I need you to do. He said, you with your offensive ability, if you play defense like that too, it's a wrap. So I said, all right. And I remember when he put me back in the game, I was the guy that I was guarding. I walked up to him and I said, yo, I apologize, man. He said, you apologize for what? I said, because you can't score another bucket. You can't touch the ball. You can't do nothing else for the rest of the game. I said, if you do, my coach taking me out. And I ain't coming out this game no more. So, and from that moment, I became like a defensive fool. Like that was just, I said, I need to play defense like I play offense. So once I began to accept that challenge,
mm-hmm.
I began to love it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I could score. Like I could score. That was easy. I had no problem scoring. But I was like, what good is it if I get 20, 30 or whatever, and I let somebody else do the same thing? That doesn't make sense. So be able to score, but then lock your man up.
Yes.
So then that became the new challenge for me because I used to always find challenges while I was playing.
Okay.
So that was one of them. Like sometimes I would challenge myself. I'm gonna play the whole game lefty this game, and just do stuff like that and play lefty.
Mm.
Like yo, what you doing? You playing lefty? Yeah, why not?
Mm.
Just see if I could do it. I'm talking about I ain't talking about just little. So I'm talking about pulling up jump shots lefty, everything off the left. Yeah. Like whatever, just to push myself, just to challenge myself. I never wanted it to be a time on the floor that I couldn't do anything. Like a coach could say, yo, pushing this way or do this or do that. Nah, whatever you try to force me to do, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it well, So, so those are like the challenges. So, but once I got locked in defensively, I just saw my team started to do so much better.
Okay.
And I began to love that more than scoring. Like it was like, yo, like I like this. I like a dude who's supposed to be nice, who can't. I bottle him up. or if a guy was averaging 15, 20, 25, yo, Lance, you got him. I bet he ain't getting his average tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that became a thing. Like I love doing that. So, you know, those are just some of the things that, stick out to me, my growth, my maturity, and learning and evolving, in the game, of basketball. And, I love teaching those lessons now when I see the kids going through the same things or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I can relate, I can actually walk them through it because I have a story, to tell them.
Mm-hmm. Nah, interesting. I mean, you say all of that, and then New Mexico State, how we end up there? Was it anywhere else any other place you was considering?
It was a few schools I was looking at because of Southern Idaho and because we had such a rich winning tradition. We got a lot of attention, from all the big time schools. So pretty much every school in the country was recruiting myself and my teammates. So, and it was crazy because they were in our practices. Like when we walk in for practice, we got everybody sitting in there. So, hey coach, hey coach, hey coach, so it was crazy. So when we started narrowing down, going through the whole recruitment process, all the Big East schools, everybody thought I was gonna go Big East. Okay. So I'm the only one who knew. I was like, I ain't going. I used to let them talk. I was like, I ain't going back home. I'm staying somewhere out here.
Real quick. You got something that's chiming.
What is that? I'm sorry about that. I think that's my other phone. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let me cut this down. That looked like my group chat with my Rutgers girls.
Okay, yeah. Somebody
we got a team chat, so they being silly or something.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Nah, no problem.
So we going through the recruitment process. So the UNLVs, the Florida States, the Alabamas, UCLA's, like everybody and they mother, we looking at. I remember, it's funny because I look at the teams now, the Baylors, the Gonzagas, the Creightons, all of them who are big time programs now. I remember them used to recruit us, and we used to look at them and be like, nah, they know we not, coming over here and stuff like that. Oklahoma State, Arkansas. I thought I was going to go to Arkansas because my man, I was telling you about Craig Tyson, he ended up signing in Arkansas. Okay. So I was going to go follow him.
But they had Mayberry probably around that time.
Lee was just leaving. Okay. And I tell you who came in. It was a guy by the name of Corey Beck.
Yes, I remember that name.
Corey Beck came in. So which me and Corey ended up meeting up when I was in Charlotte. But so Corey Beck was there. Corliss Williamson, Scotty Thurman, those guys. Arkansas was high on my radar. Mm-hmm. And I ended up not going because my guy Craig Tyson, when he went there. So what ended up happening with my good brother Craig Tyson was he something, I can't even begin to tell you the whole thing, but something happened on campus, and I know police got involved, and it was a big old thing. But whatever happened, he was innocent, mm-hmm. And Nolan Richardson, who was the coach at that time, mm-hmm. Nolan didn't stand up for him.
Okay.
And so when I seen that, and this is when Bill Clinton was running for office and all of that, and Bill Clinton went to Arkansas, right, and all of that, right. And they was like, well, even though he didn't do anything, he was there when something happened. He was mm-hmm. clear of everything. But they was because he was involved, well, not involved, because he was there and his name was attached to it. They really kind of did him dirty.
Okay.
And so Nolan, the strong, black coach, you know what I'm saying, that we all looked up to at that time, he really didn't stand up for my guy. And that was real disappointing. And, when me and my man would have conversations, he said a lot of people would come back to him was like, all Nolan had to do was like, nah,
Yes.
I got him. He good. And Nolan wouldn't do it. So that soured me,
Okay.
to Coach Richardson, man. So that's ultimately why, I stopped considering Arkansas. USC was big at that time.
Mhm.
Because they had Coach Ravlin.
Yes.
I love Coach Ravlin. But I think he was leaving or about to leave. I think I had heard at that time, so I kind of fell back off of them. Florida State, I like. My cousin had went there, and my cousin's dad and Pat Kennedy, who was the coach at that time, they used
Mhm.
to go at it. And Coach Kennedy, he couldn't do nothing to my cousin's dad, but he would take it out on him, like bench him and do
Okay.
stuff like that. So it was a bad look. And then Sam Cassell came and
Mhm.
Charlie Ward was there and all of that. So it was kind of easy to slide him out of the mix. And he was a tremendous ball player. He was like Mr. Basketball out of West Palm Beach, Florida. Lorenzo Hands, salute, cuz
Mhm.
he was tough. So that was an ugly situation. So like I said, I'm just feeling around, trying to see where I'm gonna go. Everybody was trying to get me to go Big East, Syracuse, Georgetown, St. John's, stuff like that. I didn't want to come back home at this time.
Okay.
So now I'm like, okay, well, I like Alabama. New Mexico State kind of slid in. And what was so attractive about them was they was just starting to kind of take over the Big West Conference at that time and starting to, be a rival to UNLV.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, outside of Arkansas, UNLV would have had me. They would have had me because Vegas and that whole UNLV run, that was crazy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They coming off a national championship with LJ and all them and all of that. So we seeing how they living out there. Be like, yo, this crazy. What soured me to them, we was playing in the national tournament. They all coming to the games and they watching, they recruiting. My guy, Clayton Johnson, guy from Stockton, California, I was telling you about, he signed early with UNLV. At that time, um, uh, Coach Tarkanian had left. Raleigh had took over. Coach Massimino, he had left Villanova,
He's out there.
went to
Yes.
went to UNLV. What soured me to UNLV was Coach Jay Wright, who just was in Villanova.
Hmm.
Shout out to Coach Wright. He was the assistant there. So we used to be in contact with him a lot. After we play a game, my guy Clayton had, subpar game for him, for who he was. Coach Wright comes to our room and he's spazzing on my man Clayton. He's
Mm.
spazzing. And I'm like,
Mm.
yo, like, what you doing? Like, yo, this ain't how we play. Like, we might have made a mistake. Maybe you ain't, Vegas material. Like, he bugging.
Yeah.
I'm like, coach, everybody have a bad game. Like, come on. Like, nah. But he wasn't hearing that. So he going off. So that kind of bothered me the way he was,
Hmm.
going at him. I ain't really like that. So now my man Lawrence Thomas,
For Elizabeth, right?
my guy,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's my brother. So, he had went to Villanova originally with Raleigh, and then when Raleigh left, they let him go with Raleigh.
Hmm.
So I don't know what was going on when they got to Vegas, but now he's telling me. So Coach Wright has recruited me, like, yo, come through, come to Vegas. You're gonna, be able to do your thing, blah blah blah. One of the packs that all of us made as guards was like we always gonna go different places. We get a chance to do our own thing in our own setting.
Hmm.
So Lawrence is there, LT is there. So I'm like, well, my brother is here. Like, so I don't know, coach. I may not be able to come here. So he can do his thing over there. I go somewhere else. So he like, oh no, 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 you can still come here, this and that. So he goes on to say, well, he ain't gonna play much anyway. So if you come, at least the person ahead of him will be somebody who he cool with.
Mm.
So in my mind,
Yeah. Doing the math. Yeah.
I'm like, well, how are you even writing him off like that? Like, I'm in season, I'm not coming in the next season. So how have you already written him off for next year?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So I'm like, I ain't like that. He said, if you don't come, we're gonna get somebody to take that spot. So I said, oh nah, that's kind of dirty. So that turned me off to them. So I said, you know what? And then that made me look at New Mexico State a little harder because I was like, we in the same conference. I get a chance to go play against them now.
Yes.
And so then that's I ended up going to New Mexico. That's how I got to New Mexico State.
You did Big West, and then back then it had the Big Mondays. You guys were probably playing like at midnight over here. We struggling to stay up. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Boy, people used to call me. Yo, I stayed up last night. I was dead tired. I was dog tired that morning, but I stayed up and watched y'all. So that was cool. That was cool.
And you get up over there again. You playing with all these guys already. The whole JUCO thing here, but you get there. How was it for you?
Man, New Mexico was beautiful, man. It was a beautiful place, you know, part of the country, man. Beautiful. Las Cruces, New Mexico is a beautiful place. Again, we getting great guys who came in, a lot of them from JUCO, All-American status, you know, coming in. And we banging out. We get there, everybody gotta, make their bones and see who about what, who got what. And immediately I connected with my Chicago brothers, my man Keith Johnson, Rodney Walker, my man DJ Jackson, Big Johnny Selvey, Clyde Jordan, like my boy PJ, the white boy I was telling you about, Paul Jarrett. He went to New Mexico State with me.
Okay.
So we had a nice crew over there, man. We had a really nice crew. And I never forget when we first got there, everybody going to the gym, sizing everybody up.
Yeah.
And And we going at it, and yo, my man, nice. Oh, yo, my man, nice. So that was fun, man. That was a great thing, man. And we ended up taking over the Big West, man. We ended up start beating up on Vegas and all of that stuff.
Now, while you were there, you made the tourney?
Yeah. Actually, yeah. We did well in the tournament. We did pretty well. Well, one year we went to the Sweet 16 too. Well, that was actually the year before I got there. We went to the Sweet 16. Okay. That was with the guard Sam Crawford and Cliff Reed and all them. They had a tough team. And that was another reason because we watched them go on that little Sweet 16 run, and we was like, yo, Mexico State looking good, baby. Like, they making noise. So we came in right off the heels of that. And the guard who was there, Sam Crawford, tremendous guard. He was a little guy, 5'7", 5'8", but the kid could go.
Yeah.
He was a monster. And he won the Naismith 6 foot and under Player of the Year award.
Okay.
So New Mexico State was on the map. So I'm like, oh, I could go here and continue this tradition and, keep this thing going. So that played a big, part of it as well.
Now, what happened ultimately there? I mean, obviously you get there, you play, some things start to happen and moves start to get made. What happened while you was there?
Now, with New Mexico State, man, had an unfortunate situation in New Mexico because it was a great place, great people. I loved it. Had a coach who recently passed too, God rest his soul, Coach Neil McCarthy. Coach McCarthy, he wasn't a bad guy, like most coaches. He did things his own way, had his own, ego. They all have their own egos.
Right.
But I think what ended up happening ultimately, particularly in my case, we got a lot of good guards. We got some strong guards. Most of the assistants do the recruiting in a lot of these college situations. The head coaches, they'll identify a couple of kids, but as far as the recruiting, most of the assistants go out, make the contacts, and deal with the kids. Now, one of our guards that we had coming in from California, a guy by the name of Dwayne Bradbury, shout out Big D Bradbury, tremendous player, man. And this is when everybody was chasing the big guard.
Okay.
So he was 6'4", He's a little chunky. Was never in really good condition, but he could play. The kids see the floor. Matter of fact, think he was real tight with J Kidd too. Um, but he was a 6'4" guard, passed the ball, real smart, real heady guy. He was the only player that our head coach recruited.
Mm.
So all the other assistants recruited all of us. So when we were coming in, the head coach kind of had it in his mind that he already had a locked spot. And then it was how everybody else was going to fall in line with him. I'm a kid from I'm a city kid. We ain't having that. Like, nah, we coming to take what's ours. So if you promised him something, I'm sorry, but if it come down to me and him, nah, coach, that ain't gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to go at him. Once we figured out he was like the golden child, we used to go at him crazy.
Yeah.
And even though the kid could play, like I loved this game, even though he could play, he was a spoiled kid. He was an entitled kid. You know, his mom had bread.
Yeah.
You know, California kid, you know, always had it easy. All the latest whatever, like that's when Sega was hot and all of that kind of stuff. Mother sent him he get packages of the big TV, Sega's, food, this and that. Kid just had it laid out. He had an easy life, which is okay, which is great. But he didn't have that dog in him.
Okay.
So when it was time for him to have to, you know, lock in and go get it, he didn't have that. So we going at him in practice. He would go to coach afterwards and be like, Coach, man, they coming at me all hard. I don't understand and this and that. So then coach would come to us and be like, yo, you know, stop playing so hard against them. Like, stop going at them so hard. We like, are you crazy?
Mm-hmm.
We was like, nah, we not doing that. Like, first of all, we need everybody on our team to be soldiers. Like, so steel sharpens steel. We gonna make him better. But coach wasn't seeing it like that. And I found out later, like he used to threaten, I'm gonna go home, like I'm gonna leave and stuff like that, like crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So coach ain't want him to leave. So, but he would come down on us, which I thought was kind of like the wrong approach. And so I'm not a talk, like I was always respectful. I'm not going to talk back to you, but if you ask me certain questions, I'll tell you what I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, and because I was usually always like the captain of my teams, stuff like that, I was always the spokesman and the mouthpiece for my guys. Even if it wasn't my issue, I would bring it to the forefront if my other guys had a problem with something.
Right.
So I talked to coach. I said, Coach, listen, man, for what it's worth, we love Dwayne, like we love him, but we ain't going to not play hard against him because he feels some kind of way or we playing too rough. So we're not doing that. Like, and you shouldn't want us to do that. You know, you should be having conversations with him, like God, you know, my man, you gotta toughen up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so, because I'm the delivery person, it falls on me. And everybody thought Tim Hardaway was my older brother. couldn't pay nobody to believe otherwise, especially when UTEP was right down the street.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so Tim's nickname was Bug, so that's what they used to call me out there, Bug. So they'd be like, Bug, coaches would be like, Bug, you know, you always speaking for everybody, and you know, how do I know they all feel that way? I was like, well, you can ask them. They asked me to come talk. Like I'm just relaying a message. But as far as, you know, our brother Dwayne, we not gonna let up on him, coach. You think UNLV gonna let up on him? You think Long Beach State gonna let up on him? You think any one of these schools, when we play the Pitt or UTEP, you know, in a hostile environment, they gonna let up on him? I said, nah, he gotta be battle ready. So I think that was the start of the deterioration of me and his relationship because, excuse me, because I guess he felt like I was I guess I was just giving him a hard time. I didn't want to listen. But I don't know what he thought.
Mm-hmm.
So our relationship started getting a little rocky. And so now when we playing scrimmages or we doing stuff, I'm noticing now we got 4 or 5 guards, but I'm noticing some way, somehow he keeps sliding me out the lineup for my man. And I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
if somebody is out playing me or whatever the case may be, I'm good with that because I'm okay. I'm built to work. I'm not gonna let nobody outwork me. So I'm okay with that. But if I see that this is something else, nah, this ain't it. We gotta have a conversation, coach. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let me know what's going on. So I'm trying to talk to him, have conversations like, coach, why you keep taking me out the lineup? Like I'm top guard here. You know what I'm saying? Or one of them. Like I'm in your top 2 guards. Ain't no way in the world, somebody is coming and playing over me. Like it's no way.
Yeah.
So nah, just listen to what I'm telling you to do. He ain't really got no answer for me. It's just do as I say, whatever, whatever. I'm riding with it. I'm dealing with it. Even though I don't like it, I'm riding with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess this was his way of, I don't want to say humbling me because I was already humble, but I guess was his way of proving that I'm the big dog. Like I run the show.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that I think that was what he was doing. So finally I fall back. Okay, you know what, coach? Whatever. When you put me in, it's a wrap. So that's how we gonna do that. Like when I get in, I'm gonna make it so I gotta be on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So he take me out the lineup, but then he'll put me in. So I'm going crazy. We getting it. I'm getting player of the week, all kind of stuff. Coming off the bench, player of the week, this and that. So he can't figure it out. He like, man, like, God, this kid just he can get out here, he go.
Yeah.
We play on TV one night. We down 12 with like 48 seconds left or something crazy. So he looks to put me in the game. First, I'm like, I'm not going in the game. You about to play me out like that. My people watching on TV, like you playing me out. I ain't going. I ain't going in the game. So everybody like, oh, nah, Bug, don't do it like that. Nah, man, forget what he talking about. Now he going to add insult to injury. He's going to like not play me, then put me in the last 48 seconds like I'm a bum or something. I'm like, nah, we're not doing that. But a strange thing happened. I'm looking at the clock and I'm looking at the pulse of the game. Everybody pretty much done accepted the game is over. So they just kind of going through the motions. So I said, you know what? All right, yeah, I go in. Because in my mind, I'm like, if I could get a quick bucket or two, like we could kind of do something. So I go in. I walk past him. I stop it. I say, yo, you want to win this game? He said, what? I said, you want to win this game? He was like, yeah, all right, whatever. I said, yeah, all right. Sit back, just watch the show.
Mm-hmm.
Go in the game. I sub in. I come up court, pass the ball swing right back. I catch it, score, bang. Come down, we play defense, get a stop, come down, catch it, score, bang. Get it still, score. It's like a 3-possession game now, that quick.
Yeah.
They call timeout. So he wants to take me out the game now. I said, no. I said, I'm not coming out. You crazy? Nah. He was like, no. Just, no, you tired. You look like you're tired. I was tired too.
Yeah.
But I was tired because my adrenaline was like, and I was running crazy. So I was tired. I said, coach, don't take me out this game and don't put me back in. I promise I'm gonna mess the game up. I'm gonna run on the floor. I'm gonna do something crazy. He said, nah, get a quick blow and I promise I'm gonna put you back in. Put me back in. He did what he said, put me back in. Long story short, we end up winning that game by like 12. We go into double overtime, we win by 12. I get player of the game, player of the week, Big West player of the week, all kind of crazy stuff. So now it's like, okay, he ain't got no choice. Now it's my time. So now he put me back in the lineup or whatever. And one day we had a team meeting, everything's starting to go smooth. We had a team meeting and I don't know, some way, somehow, he brought up my name about something that I ain't even had nothing to do with. I don't even know what it was. I ain't had nothing to do with it. I was like, I'll never forget. I'm sitting there, I'm drinking a Sunkist lemonade soda and eating a bag of potato chips. And for whatever reason, he said something about me. And I'm like, I said, nah, coach, I ain't had nothing to do with that. I don't even know what y'all talking about. Yeah, you did. Blah, blah, blah. So he was accusing me of something. I'm like, coach, that wasn't me. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking around. I'm like, yo, what is he talking about? Like, and he was like, see, you always got something to say. You always talking back. I said, I'm not talking back. I'm just saying that wasn't me. You're making a mistake. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
So I don't know if he was just trying to single me out to cause a problem, because I guess he saw that I was starting to, do my thing. I don't know. I can't. I would hate to even think that people think along those lines, but it happened because I can't really think of like no other reasoning for it. If I'm telling you, if you're accusing me of something and I'm telling you that I didn't do that, I don't know what you're talking about. And then it turns into something else. And the last straw was he called me like, you pork chop eating something.
Yeah.
And I said, what? So I'm looking at everybody and they just kind of like, but nobody, even assistant coaches, they just shaking their head, but nobody wants to check him. So I said, coach, man, I ain't never disrespected a coach or an adult in my life. I wasn't raised that way. I said, man, but if you call me out my name again, we gonna have a problem in here.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, that's it. I'm sick of your mouth and blah, 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 blah. And he said it again, you pork chop eating, blah, blah, blah. And I remember I grabbed the soda can and I cocked it. I was about to hit him right in his face with it. And my man grabbed me, was like, nah, Bog, you can't do that. I said, yo, do y'all hear him?
Mm-hmm.
I said, yo, this cat a big racist dude. I was like, yo, come on, man. So, nah, you get the F out. Now he cursing at me and blah, blah, blah. So I said, man, I'm out. So I walk out and the assistants come to talk to me. I said, you know what, man? Y'all need to go talk to him. He out of control. Like, come on, man. You don't say that to nobody. Like, come on, bro. Like, really? Pork chop me? Like, really? Come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was out of line. This and that. No, go tell him that. So I go down to the Black Studies office, which we had a guy there named Dr. Wall. He passed not too long ago. But Dr. Wall was militant, real intelligent. He was a professor, super intelligent, militant, ex-Black Panther, and he couldn't stand my coach because he watched my coach mistreat a lot of the Black players.
Okay.
So he wasn't feeling him anyway. So when I went down there and told him what happened, he like, oh, nah, come on. Big guy too, about 6'4", big dude. We go back up to the office. He busts, where you at? So we go with my coach. Yo, come outside. I'm tired of you mistreating all my young Black kids coming in here. They playing for you, making the university all this money, and this how you treating them? And talking to him, all this stuff. He was like, nah, come outside. You said you was in the army and you boxed. Well, come on outside. I want to see it. Like, he was about to get it to us. So my coach was scared. Ain't want to come out, all that. So it was a big thing. NCAA got involved because, Dr. Wall filed a grievance and, some racial stuff. Like it got real crazy, man. They had to come and interview all the players. Like it just made it a real bad, uncomfortable situation. And so even though I was ready to just get past it, I don't think it was able to be repaired, And so finally I ended up leaving there and going to the University of Northern Colorado after that. And I just, finished up over there. Yeah, so
that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. So I tell these kids, I have a story, man, like the good and the bad. Like, so I know what it looks like. I know what it should look like. I know how to deal with coaches, on every level, whether it's fighting to get on the basketball court, whether it's something outside of that, whether it's, a personal agenda or feelings or whatever, I've been through it.
That's right.
So I can walk you guys through it, and my stories, if I don't ever want it to come across like I'm no victim or anything like that, because I'm sure being young, we make impulsive decisions and we say things and we do stuff too. So I don't ever want it to come across like I'm just this innocent victim because, I'm sure in his eyes, he probably thought that I was doing something that was wrong or out of line.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing about it is about me, I'm very straightforward. I'm very honest. I'm very transparent. That's the way that I was raised. And if there's something that I did that was wrong, I'll be the first to admit it. Like, yeah, I did this. I definitely shouldn't have did that. Or I was out of pocket for this. The same way, like I was telling you how I was messing up in school and stuff like that. I don't hide anything because that's part of the story. That's the
That's right.
voyage.
That's
You
right.
know what I'm saying? And that's what I have to use to tell kids because I went through what you went through. I know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's hard to identify with somebody when you ain't been through nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Nah, most definitely. And I think to your point, I mean, you could share the good, bad, and the ugly, and what you could have did or didn't. And even though you had people in your corner, you was learning as you go. And you mentioned being 18, 19, 20,
Yes.
that brain ain't developed, man. The impulsivity, all that stuff is still there, man. I mean,
That's a
yeah.
fact.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
fact.
Yeah,
That's an absolute fact.
Yeah, nah. Then you get over to with the Northern Colorado, excuse me. But you get there, you do well, and you still have those pro aspirations. So
Yeah.
yeah, and you
Yeah.
somehow find your way, on some teams and moving around. Me ask about the whole Charlotte Hornets thing. How did that go down?
Going to when I went to Northern Colorado, I went up there. I did really well. Newcomer of the year, player of the year. All regional conference, blah 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 blah. I ain't never been big on accolades or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
I did pretty well as far as that part was concerned. So I had another year. So that was my junior year. So I
Okay.
had another year. But like we was just saying about impulsivity and
Yes.
your brain not being fully developed and you just being radical and just making crazy decisions. So when I'm about to go into my senior year, my mindset is I'm ready to be done with this school thing, not with school itself, but just these coaches and all of that, because that left a really bad taste in my mouth what I had
Mm-hmm.
just went through, with Coach Mack. And now I can look back in hindsight and say, man, I was depressed. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was
Yeah.
hurt. I was going through a lot. And as men, we weren't taught, to speak about your feelings and your emotions. So I bottled a lot of that up. And again, I'm walking around with I'm just upset and I'm making impulsive decisions. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going into the draft. I'm just coming out. I'm tired of it. I'm looking at all my peers. Everybody's coming out and all
Yeah.
that. I'm like, man, I'm coming out. You know what I'm saying? I'm more than ready. I'm just coming out. But because I'm not communicating and telling people like I should, I don't do the paperwork I'm supposed to do. Um, all the things that you have to do leading up to the draft. I ain't doing none of that. I'm just saying I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
the draft. Now Coach Bickerstaff, Bernie Bickerstaff, my guy, me and his son was together at Northern
Is
Colorado.
that JB or
That's not J. Now JB, the youngest boy.
okay?
JB, the youngest boy. He was in high school at this time.
Okay.
His brother, his older brother, Bernard Jr.
Okay.
Um, so I'm close to Coach Bickerstaff and all of that. So we talking and actually he was a scout back then, Mike Brown,
Mm.
Coach Mike Brown. So that was my guy. He was one of the scouts back then. So we used to always go to Denver games and like
Mm-hmm.
all of that stuff because Coach Bickerstaff was coaching at the time. And so, I was around there all the time. So I'm playing. So coach, he come to the games, he watching this and that. So, Lance, what you gonna do, man? Nah, I think I want to come out. So Mike Brown, like, all right, well, we could do something. We may be able to get you to Denver or whatever. And I think the year 94, 95. I know they was coming out. So 95, I believe they had like a mid first round pick and like a late first round pick or whatever. So I remember I was talking to Coach Brown about possibly being that late pick or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But again, like I said, I ain't doing none of the necessary paperwork or nothing that I'm supposed to be doing. So nobody know I'm trying to come out but me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so of course that ain't happen because I ain't do none of this stuff. I ain't go to Portsmouth. I ain't do none of this stuff. The pay just nothing. It was just it was just terrible. Um, so I ended up
Now, did you know?
withdrawing.
Did you know about the paperwork, or you just didn't know, or you just like, you know what? I don't even need to do this.
I didn't even know the
Okay.
details that was involved. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? And again, this is why you got to have people in your corner.
Yes.
They know what they're doing, and so you don't make these kinds of mistakes. So if I would have, gotten, with an agent at that time, and let people know what I was trying to do or whatever, then the road would have been much easier. But then again, like I said, I'm being a knucklehead. I ain't, I'm just moving now, on my own or what I think is supposed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So didn't make the right choices. So I end up withdrawing because I'm chasing this dream now, but I don't know the steps. I don't know the protocol. So I'm doing it what I think should be done.
Mm-hmm.
So I end up withdrawing. I stayed out there. I played, with them in their little summer league out there. I'm killing their little summer league out there. Um, I end up coming home, playing in the summer leagues and different pro-ams here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to figure out, well, why, why I'm still not getting a whole lot of interest. Now, mind you, like Miami, Denver, um, Charlotte, Indiana, a couple of teams already just from different places and seeing me play, there was a little interest there. But if I would have did it the right way, going to, Portsmouth and,
Mm-hmm.
all these pre-draft camps and all of that, now it's a totally different, because I'm in front of the whole NBA setting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't doing none of that. So I'm confused. Like, well, why ain't this happening? Why ain't that happening? Um, but I still, end up getting a call from Charlotte, like, yo, we want you to come down to camp and this and that. Oh, all right, cool. All right, let's get it. So go down to Charlotte. I kill him in Charlotte.
Yeah.
I go down to Charlotte. I turn Charlotte out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, it's about to happen. Dude,
Yeah.
when I come to practice one day and they was like, yo, come in the back. And when they take me and they show me my locker, I
Mm-hmm.
said, I did it. Like, wow, number 11, Jackson, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yo, I did it. Turn Charlotte out. Now all we got to do is finalize everything. And then that was a whole another animal. With the people from Charlotte said it was a problem with the representation and it,
The business
it
side, the business of
yeah,
yeah,
the
yeah,
business
yeah,
side.
yeah.
So that is what ended up messing me up there. I never forget when I ended up getting released. I'm talking to Coach T.R. Dunn, the assistant at the time, and he said, Lance, this is like one of the hardest releases that we had to do, because usually we can tell a player, yo, you're not ready yet. You got to go work on this, work on
Mm-hmm.
that, this and that. He said, I can't tell you none of that.
Yeah.
He said, just the business didn't work out the way that it should have.
Now, who the
You know,
guards?
I was down there. Now, me and Muggsy is like this. That's big bro.
Okay.
So Muggsy was like, I get a chance to get ready to retire and hand the reins over to you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we on. So the only other guards out there with me, Michael Adams was there.
Okay.
I love Michael Adams. Michael Adams was there. And then the other guards coming in was Corey Beck,
Okay.
Tony Delp from Kentucky,
Mm-hmm.
and my brother from down South Jersey, down Trenton, Brian Caver,
Yeah. Yeah.
BC, my guy.
Mm-hmm.
So we down there getting it. But like I said, I turned it all the way up.
Yeah.
Like, so the business didn't get done for whatever reason. The business didn't get done, and the numbers for, and this is for what I was told from Coach Dunn.
Okay.
The numbers that they had to give me, Tony Delk's agent and Corey Beck's agent came in and they worked their numbers out better, which allowed them to take those final spots.
Okay.
So, me and you will talk some more behind the scenes because
Got
there's
you.
some things that I don't want to say.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, not
You know what
definitely
I'm
fair enough.
saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I'll paint the picture a little more clearly. But the business side of it, from what it was told to me from the horse's mouth,
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't get the numbers right, and so that was that. And so I was that was the first time I've ever fell out of love with the game of basketball,
Yeah.
because what it told me and what it showed me at that point was that it ain't about how good you are. It's a lot of politics involved.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a young kid. I don't know that. All I know is all the commercials that I watch. Y'all tell us if you're good enough, they're gonna find you.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, that ain't it. It's a lot of politics in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Who's connected to who? Who's this? Who's that? Who's this? If I'm killing these cats in practice, then ain't that y'all want the best player?
Right.
That's what I'm thinking as a 20-year-old kid. But that's not what it is. Like, this guy played at Arkansas, which I was almost went to. This guy was at Kentucky. I'm at New Mexico State. I'm clearly the best guard here. They had me rated the best guard, the best, one of the best players there.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we take Lance Jackson, who the world doesn't know, over Tony Delk and Corey Beck? They both had national championships under their belt.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when you start to see the politics and the stuff like that. I don't really understand that. I'm like, yo, if y'all think I'm better, then why are we even doing this dance?
Yeah.
But they had to put Corey Beck on a diet when he was there. I'm like, I don't understand that. I'm like, if this ain't enough motivation for you to come into camp in shape, then what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
But it was what it was, and so that's how it played out. And it took the love from me, like,
Yeah.
because it showed me an ugly side of the game that I didn't know was there, and I was just like, so I wanted to get away from it. So I still played pro-ams and different stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I ain't chasing this no more. But when I do play, I'm killing everybody, everything walking, I'm killing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's what I did. Anytime I got a chance to play against the pros or whatever I'm doing, I'm murdering them. I'm killing them.
Mm.
But I stopped chasing that part of it.
Okay.
And then I got to doing some stuff with kids and coaching and then different stuff. And then I realized I like the teaching aspect of it. Because even when we were playing, like, me and Anthony Mason, rest his soul, me and Big Bro Anthony Mason was roommates. And the NBA lifestyle is great. It's a lot of money, as we see cats make a lot of money, but it's a whole lot of other stuff that go along with that lifestyle. As far as like the nightlife and the things that you can get caught up in.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple other things we'll talk about off camera, but I saw some things happen, socially, where I was like, nah, I ain't comfortable with that. People you don't know coming hanging around, people
Mm-hmm.
doing this, doing that. So when people see these women who yell rape or
Right.
like that stuff real, like, but it be setups. Like, I watched it, I seen it, like I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And they come at you and they play like that. They be like, yo, give me a couple 100,000 and I won't go to the media and say this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's dirty, it's crazy.
Mm.
So, unless you've been around it or involved in it, people have no idea. They'll hear stuff about these guys and automatically think that these people are bad people. And like, nah, y'all don't know what they around. People trying to come up,
Hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
you know. So, and I said to myself, you know what? I love the basketball side of it. That's my life. But that other part, maybe God ain't want me. Maybe that wasn't in the cards. Maybe, God ain't want me doing something or getting caught up in something or, whatever. He had a
Hmm.
mission for me to do something else, to teach, and to pour into others, guide them. So, I humbly and willingly accepted that. And I'm happy doing that. You know what I'm saying? I'm humbled that, I'm chosen to do the work that I do. And I don't, because I ain't never really cared about, but we all want money and do all of that stuff. But all my dreams of getting money is about, what I could have did, for my mom or,
Hmm.
taking care of my family. I ain't never been one like, oh, I want, all these cars and I want all this
Hmm.
jewelry. I ain't care about nothing like that. So, you know, so you just continue, to just plan your life and find what you're passionate about, and keep moving forward, man, and change lives that way. So,
And speaking of which, the Team Triple Threat Foundation, man,
yes, sir.
sound like you got some passion and with all of that, man. How'd you want to starting that up?
Um, well, like again, once I was transitioning from, chasing basketball professionally, um, I already knew because I always dealt work with kids and stuff like that. So I knew that I wanted to give back and I wanted to be able to lead the young people and steer them away from a lot of the pitfalls that I fell into.
Hmm.
So by mentoring, um, staying on top of kids academically. And then of course, the sports angle. So, through basketball and, and training and all that. So I
Hmm.
was like, we can teach life skills through something that they love, through
That's right.
sports.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? But also teach them how important, you know, um, your academics is,
Hmm.
how you have to make, smart decisions out here, so the life skills aspect of it, and they're all, closely, intertwined and related. So I started, Team Triple Threat Foundation and Triple Threat actually started. I started that as I think I was going into my sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
Um, when I came up with the idea for Triple Threat, the whole thing. But
Hmm.
that started as a clothing company,
Okay.
because we wanted to, we always traveling, going
Oh
different
yeah. Oh yeah.
places,
Oh yeah.
playing ball. You want to rep where you from.
That's right.
And so I remember my dad was like, "Yo, you like to draw and you do all of that. Why don't you design some shirts or something y'all could wear them?" And I was like, "You know what? All right, cool." So I sat
Mm-hmm.
at the kitchen table, drawing up, end up coming up with the logo. We went over to my father, one of my father's good friends who the world knew about Olaf. They used to wear the Olaf shorts and all of
Hmm.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Him and my dad were real tight. So
Okay.
took me over to Mr. Olaf and got started getting some gear done and we going different places and people like, yo, that's all right. Yo, like, yo, let me get something, this and that. And that's how the line Triple Threat was created. And then, like I said, fast forward into once I stopped playing professionally and chasing that dream, I wanted to give back to our kids. So I just added a nonprofit
The
side
arm
to
to
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So did that, called it the Team Triple Threat Foundation, for at-risk youth. And so we've been rocking and rolling, with that. And that was attached to, we was doing a lot with breast cancer because I ended up losing my mom in '05 to breast cancer. So we started the Bernice Jackson Foundation. And
Okay.
I had two separate ones, but then I was like, it's a lot juggling both
Hmm.
foundation. So I was like, you know what, I'll just, merge them together, through Team Triple Threat. But, her name and, all is always, on something that we're going to do. And, she's a part of me forever. So,
Oh, most
um,
definitely. Most definitely.
yeah. So, so that's how, the Triple Threat umbrella, came about.
Uh, with the whole sports thing, like what is sports giving you that sticks with you to this day?
Sports has given me, man, it's given me a lot of things, but I think one of the key elements, man, um, is that even though, again, I'm gonna use this word, I was always humble, but it's given me more of a sense of humility in the sense where I'm so appreciative of what it's allowed me to do.
Okay.
The people that I've been fortunate enough to meet and have in my life, the places I've been able to go because of sports, the things that playing sports have taught me, and the person that it's molded me to be, and become through sports, man. That stuff sticks out the most, man. Like being patient, um, understanding people,
Mm-hmm.
seeing different parts of the world. Like I said, uh, meeting lifelong friends who I
Yes.
consider family, um, relationships and bonds that'll never be broken, and just the opportunity, man. Like I don't know, I don't feel like basketball owes me anything, man. It's given me so much. So when people used to ask, "Oh, you're not mad? You're not in the league, or you know that you ain't stay and blah blah blah," and I say, "No, I was upset. I was bitter for a minute."
Mm-hmm.
But I got over that pretty quick, man, because I realized basketball didn't owe me nothing, man. Like everything that it gave me, the joy, like that's more than enough. I can't
Yeah.
complain. There's no
Yeah.
way I can complain because there's a person who is handicapped who can't play, who would love to and would never complain, wouldn't care
Mm-hmm.
nothing about playing for a check or being a pro. They would just give anything to be able to stand up and go shoot a basket,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. So when I think about that and that grand scheme of things, I can't sit here and say, yo, nah, I'm upset it didn't do this. It owed me that. Nah, I went to
Yeah.
school for free,
Yeah.
got free education. Like, I can't be mad. I can't,
Mm-hmm.
and, so I just try to pass that, along. Get everything that it's offering you while they're offering it to you. Take
Mm-hmm.
it and be grateful, appreciate it.
That's right.
So I think those are the biggest things that I got from it.
Nah, that's real. That's real. On the back end here, man, I'll put you on the spot a little bit. Have a little fun.
Absolutely.
Nah, cool. Obviously, being a Jersey guy, you prefer the Parkway or the Turnpike?
Ooh wee. Parkway or the Turnpike. Boy, you got good and bad with both of them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say because when I'm out of here, I use the Turnpike a lot. So I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say the
You
Turnpike.
say the Pike. All right. Great Adventures or Action Park?
GA.
All right. Let me see if you're not gonna lose your Jersey pass. What exit off the Turnpike?
We off the Turnpike.
Well, GA. I'm talking about GA. Yeah. What exit off the Turnpike?
What's that? 8?
All right, we close. We there. We close 7X.
Yeah, 7. Yeah.
The club or block party?
Block party all day.
Okay.
Block party
Al-
all day. Don't get me wrong. We have fun in clubs, but ain't nothing
Mhm.
like a good block party.
All right. I'm gonna take you back. Bambergers or Valley Fair?
Oh wow!
I figure I'd throw an Irvington spot on you in there.
Yes, sir. Valley Fair was it. Valley Fair was it, baby.
That's
I'm going with Valley Fair, man. Bambergers, you little bougie a little bit, but
okay.
I'm gonna keep it Valley Fair, man.
All right. Bally's or British Walkers?
Oh, that's tough.
That's tough.
That's tough because I rock both of those.
Okay.
I rock both of those. Oh, you just did something with that one, boy. I'm gonna say I'm gonna. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be a little unconventional. I'm gonna say British Walkers, yo.
All right.
I know a lot of people would probably say Valleys, but British Walkers, when those first hit,
Mm-hmm.
those was crazy. My brothers and all them, oh
Okay.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna
yeah.
keep this North Irvington thing going. Latifah or Red?
Red my guy, look, Red
Okay.
my guy, but Dana my baby. We went to school together, man.
Yeah.
Her brother name was Lance, rest in peace. Her
That's
brother's
right.
name was
That's
Lance.
right. That's
My
right.
mom's is my girl, so I gotta go with the queen, baby.
Okay. Okay.
Gotta go with the queen.
Street Smith or Slam?
I love Slam because Slam embodied the I feel like Slam brought that hood. They tapped into the hood, that
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
urban that
Yeah.
urban market.
Yeah.
So I love Slam, but when I came up, Street and Smith was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Street and Smith was it. So I'm gonna give Street and Smith the nod because my that was my time, the era I was coming through. That was the Slam
Mm-hmm.
of that time. But I love what Slam came out and became.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we talk about hoops and everything, but not playing. What else you like to do with yourself?
Um, I love golf, man.
Golf. Okay. Okay.
Never thought I would. One of my the white boy I was telling you about, PJ. He taught me how to play when I was out in Idaho. Taught me how to play. I was like, yo, what are you doing? Like, man, nobody want to play that. And so he had me messing around. And then when I came home, I started playing and was been hooked on it. So,
I hear it's addictive, man.
oh, I'm telling you, man, yo, you ever played before?
I won't go on a golf course.
If I'm getting you out on that golf course,
For
man.
that reason, that's why I'm a competitor. That's why I said I won't get on no golf course.
One time and it's a wrap.
Yeah, nah,
One time
I've heard,
and it's a wrap. Yep.
I've
But
heard.
I'm gonna tell you something. It's so peaceful and so relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
You'll love it just for the peace of mind. You
Yeah.
out there on the greens, man, just the fresh air. Sometimes you watching deer run across. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a beautiful thing, man. Just connecting, and building, with people, man, and all of that. And that's the boardroom, man.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
kind of people you run into out there, man. It's a beautiful thing. So, man, I'm a matter of fact. That's my thing. I'm writing that down now. We're gonna get about on the dog card over here.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Playing or coaching?
Nothing better than playing to me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say playing, but in this stage of my life, obviously, man, it's nothing like coaching, man, and passing on, the little bit of knowledge that I have, passing that on to somebody who wants to learn,
Mm-hmm.
that's a tremendous feeling, man, especially when you see it work for them and they listen,
Mm-hmm.
they implement it into their lives, and then they go on to do good things and be successful. It ain't nothing like it. It ain't nothing like it.
Yeah. Now, what does Mr. Wembley and B. Crawford mean to you?
Oh, life, man. They saved my life.
Yeah.
Like real talk, Mr. Wim and B, they saved my life, man. I feel like they took a little snotty nosed knucklehead kid, man, and gave him an opportunity to see the world. Made a basketball floor a national stage for me. And if it wasn't for them, like I said, man, people would probably be talking about me, but it wouldn't be like this.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely wouldn't be like this. When people start talking about some of the most notorious street dudes or hustlers or whatever, my name will probably come up in that, because that's the other stuff that was around. And that's what you saw. And I'm not saying that I was attracted to that or anything like that, but you're looking at people trying to survive, and you're looking at, your guys on the block who get money. You want to get money too. You want to drive the nice car. You want to, wear the nice clothes. You want to be popular.
Mhm.
You know, or if that's just your man, I may just start hanging out because that's just my man.
Yeah.
And, you know, by default end up getting caught up into it.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So um they kept that away from me, man. And I'll always be, you know, indebted to them, man, you know, for what they did for me, man. So I really thank them.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah. Two solid people, man. Two very solid
Yeah,
people, man.
yeah.
Now I know this man, Kobe dropped 81 one time in his life, but person I'm talking to right now, I think did the same thing, man. Well, what you had what you had going on that day?
Oh man. Oh wow. That was a funny game. That was a Branchburg Park game. We ended up playing it started raining. We ended up going to West Side and we played and we was playing Aunt Mason and them. We was playing that prime time team. They played with my guy Coach Wu, you know, David Hunter, one of the best coaches to ever come out of, you know, New Jersey. Um One of my coaches too. I ended
Mhm.
up playing for Wu later on. But we playing them and my guys, we got a nice group. Shout out to my brother Abu White. I think Haas was on my team. I don't know if you know the Haas, the Ripper.
How's the Ripper? Yeah.
Yeah, Haas used to play ball back then, so I think he was on.
Rockefeller.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah.
So I think Haas was on my team that particular night.
Mhm.
Who else we had? We had a couple of guys. I can't remember everybody, but we playing them. So of course with Aunt Mason, they got Speedy Williams,
Mhm.
they got Corey Williams. Skip to Malou didn't play that night. He was on that team, but he didn't play that night. Pookie Gist, Herman Alston,
Mhm.
Lynn Smith Red. They had a crew, they had a killer.
Mhm.
So of course they the favorites. No ifs, ands about that. But you know, we gonna come do what we gonna do. You know, let the chips
Mhm.
fall where they may. So I can't remember who was our big man, but I remember he was shook. He was scared to death of Mace. And I'm like, yo, fam. Like, yo, nah, go with him the same way he gonna come for you. Like,
Right.
we gonna bang out. Like, we ain't leaving no bullets in the chamber. Like,
Mhm.
nah. So I already know where I'm going with it. So my goal is to get the rest of my teammates confidence. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Get their confidence early,
Mhm.
and I'm you know I'll come around. I'll be all right. So my boy Abu, you know, he's a shooter. You know, play D and all of that. So I'm getting Boo going early. Boo hit like his first two, three threes. I'm like, oh, we rocking, we
Yeah.
ready. Then he missed a couple, so he look at me. So he like, yo, Bug, it's on you. Let's go. I'm like, wait, you finished already?
Yeah.
He like, yo, it's on you. Let's get it. All right, let's go. So now I just start being aggressive, just going. So I think I hit like my first seven threes or something before I even missed the shot. And I'm just going at this time. Like
Mhm.
let's just like we just gonna play. Whatever gonna happen, gonna happen.
Mhm.
And so I had like 29 in the first quarter. Then second quarter, I had 50 by like halftime.
Mhm.
So I'll never forget it. My man James Mazik, rest his soul.
Mhm.
James Mazik, he on the mic. So every time I score a bucket, he's yelling it out. So Cats is taking bets
Yeah.
on how much I'm gonna score. So he'll hit me. He'll be like, yo, Bug, I got $1,000 over here. Cat says you ain't gonna get 60. I'm like, well, it's halftime. I got 50 now. How am I not gonna get 10 more points?
Mhm.
So I'm like, take that.
Yeah.
So he like, I bet. So I'm scoring 52, 55. So he yelling out every bucket. So we get to 60. So he like, yo, they say you can't get 70, blah, blah, blah. Like, we got a whole nother quarter. Take it.
Mhm.
64, 65, 70. He said, bro, they say ain't no way in the world you gonna get 80. So now I'm getting a little winded now. I'm getting a little tired. I know I could get it, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't really care about the numbers. I'm not really chasing that, but
Mhm.
I'm kind of like, and I got more than enough time to get it. So I'm like, All right. I said, take that. Take that. We get 80. Go take that. In the middle of it, it don't even sound like a lot to me because I'm already reaching the numbers. So it don't sound like a lot while I'm going through it. So I kind of pulled back a little bit just to kind of, you know, calm myself down, like get, take a breather or whatever, because I can't come out the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of, falling back a little bit. Then I looked up, it might have been maybe, 3-4 minutes left. I probably got 72 or whatever. So he's like, yo, come on, let's go. So I'm like, all right. So I missed a couple shots. So I'm like, all right, let's go. So like it's now or never because I'm getting tired.
Mm-hmm.
So I score a couple. So I'll never forget. I remember I had 77 and time is running out or whatever. And so I said, I'm gonna take about 2 or 3 more shots. If I don't make them, that's just it. Cause I'm done. And we losing too. So I'm like, I really don't care at this point. And so I shot a 3, I missed it. So I looked at him and I was like, yo, that's it, I'm done. He's like, nah, all you need is a 3. Like, nah. So I said, all right. So I get the ball one time and I'm on the wing. If you walk in West Side, by the door, that the basket, by the entrance.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the ball. I'm standing right on that corner, on the sideline by the baseline. I'm playing with it, going through my legs, playing with it, because I'm trying to get some momentum to get a shot off. So I'm playing with the ball, rocking, and I pull up and I just fall back. I'm like, if it missed, but I'm done. I ain't even getting up. And I fell out. I just laid there and it went in. Cat. And that was 80. They going crazy in the building. They going bananas. And I was like, well, that's it. I'm done. Like, So that was a great night, but I was still mad because we lost.
Yeah.
Best game. Still mad because we lost.
Best game you ever played?
I don't think it was the best game I ever played. Obviously, it was the highest. Well, it was my highest scoring game in a regulation game.
Okay.
Because I hit 88 before, but that was we was like scrimmaging somewhere. We played like maybe 6 quarters, something like that. Yeah. So, but as far as a regulation game or whatever, yeah, 80 was the most. But I don't think by far it was my best game because I've had games where nowhere near as many points, but just a solid game where defensively, getting my guys involved and. I've never equated a lot of points with a good game.
With a good game. Got you.
Because I've seen people give numbers. And you be like, that was an ugly 30 or 40, or it was meaningless. They ain't even do you know what I'm saying? So I never really cared about that. I just knew scoring was usually a necessary part of what I had to do because I never played on the really, really good teams because I felt like everybody would pile up on a team to go win a championship. And to me, I didn't like that. I was like, yeah, I could go play with them too, but we going to beat everybody. It's not going to be no fun. So I don't want to do that. Let's make it fun. I'm going to go over there and play with them. They're not really that good over there. So the challenge for me would be to see if I can make them competitive.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? So let's go have some fun and see what we can do. And if we can steal a couple of wins against some of you really good teams. So that was the fun for me. Like I never cared about winning Branch Brook or winning Orange and stuff like that. It's nice, it's nice to talk about, but that wasn't my focus. Like I just wanted to get better. And to me, what better way to get better than to having a average team? Y'all got all the superstars.
Yeah.
I'll take some average guys and we'll all just play together, man, and see what we can do. So that was always, my thought behind it.
You mentioned this guy. What happened with Skip to My Lou down at the shore?
Oh, you did your whole work. Oh boy. Woo-wee. That's my guy. Skip, that's my guy. I love Skip to death. We was playing, they had a team down there called RTK. So we was playing them down there. And so we about to go through him, Mace, all of them. We going through our thing. So when they get the tip, they get the ball. So he got the ball. He about to do his thing. So they coach was like, yo, yeah, I clear it out, clear it out.
Or try to clear it out. Yeah,
I said, clear out on who?
yeah.
Oh, y'all got me confused. Like we ain't doing that. So Skip went in this thing, he made his move, blah blah blah. He hit me with a nice little move, and then he spent off of it. But when he spent, I caught him from the back. I go down, put it in.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So my coach is one of them. Was like, let me mute this. My coach is like, yo, yeah, they trying to clear out now, so we gonna clear it out. So clear it out. I go at him, go by him, finish. So I think I ended up having like 59, something crazy.
Okay.
Like something crazy. But I always loved Skip's game. He was one of the few people who I felt like he could play in the park and he could play organized ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I always, loved his game, man. But we used to go to war with everybody, man. Like I love the era I came through, man. So many great players, man. So
Hold,
many
hold,
great
hold that thought.
guards.
I got something I want to ask you about something about that, but real quick. And the homework has been cool, but your man Darrell helped me out a little bit. He's like, make sure you ask him a couple of things.
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh, the other thing too. The name Goldwire.
Anthony Goldwire.
Yeah.
He and cool, and cool dude. And cool dude. He from down Florida where my cousin, all my family stay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, let me see what's up with Ant. Ant ended up playing with Charlotte too. At a couple of years after I was there, he ended up playing with Charlotte. Tough player, man. He could play. But we used to go work out down in Florida, down in West Palm Beach. Where my people from, and and he who he is down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I would come down, everybody, yo, the kid, new cat from up top,
Yeah.
yo, he could play. He come down. So everybody kind of wanted to see me and him kind of go at it.
Okay.
My mentality in situations like that was like with anybody, and not just him, but with anybody, I was like, this ain't really gonna be what y'all think it's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't gonna be no going at it. Like
Yeah.
when I'm coming to kill. Ain't no going back and forth. I'm not going to allow nobody to go back and forth with me. That was just my mentality. And so we would go, play at, different gyms, work out and stuff. But every time it was like kind of time for me and him to play, he kind of would, nah, y'all go ahead, or,
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And he's a cool guy, but his personality, like he's not maybe just not, I don't want to say to me because we were cool, but I kind of watch him the way he interacts with people. And you have some people that's really personable and outgoing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He really wasn't that, at least not from what I saw. And it kind of came off as like kind of snobbish or,
Okay.
snide. Like, so it kind of put me in that mood like, yeah, I want him. I can't wait to catch him.
Yeah. Got you. Got you.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
a couple of times when we ended up catching each other, like I went at him crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he really ain't really want it like that. You know what I'm saying? So either he would end up leaving or he'll switch, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So but he cool dude, man. I ain't never had no problems with him. He did do one thing he did kind of do that I wasn't, a big fan of when was talking one day and I said, yo, because he was playing around in the league at this time. And I said, yo, why don't you introduce me, to your agent? You know what I'm saying? I got a couple situations that I'm working on. Can you introduce me to your agent? And I remember he was like, yeah, well, L,
my agent really don't be taking on too many new people and, this and that. And I'm like, what? Like, first of all, how are you speaking for your agent?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Even if you call him and say, listen, I got a guy who wants to speak to you, can I give him your number or can you call him or whatever? Like, agents, their job is to find players and make money. That's how they eat.
Yes.
So if I'm a potential pro, then why would you like not want me to meet this guy unless you thought it was going to take away from you?
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird to me because guys represent a million different, players. So,
Right.
So when he did that, I kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, with him. I was like, oh, he one of those,
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have no beef with him or nothing like that. I wasn't upset with him. It just kind of made me feel like, wow, like all of like me, because I'm one of the people like if I got a connection, I'm gonna hook anybody up
Mm-hmm.
any way that I can,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when people go opposite of that, I'm just like, wow, like just kind of reminds you though, like sometimes why our people are in the position
Right.
that we're in because
Right.
we don't want to reach back. So
Mm-hmm.
so it was one of them kind of situations,
Nah.
But man, love to good dude.
Nah. Best team you ever been on in your life? What's one that just sticks out? Like this is best team I've ever been on.
My junior college team.
Yeah.
My junior college team. Like
Mm-hmm.
all the way around, talent wise, and the way we came together,
Mm-hmm.
like as a unit.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my coach said to us one time, he said, this is going to be the best team that you'll ever be on. He said, because it's not normally like this. A lot of times guys play together, but they may not like each other.
Right. Right.
It's hard for everybody to get along. And all of us got along. Like we sincerely got along and we're all tight till this day.
Mm-hmm.
So that came to fruition. He was right. That was the best team that I've ever been on.
Yeah. What's a game you would like to have back, even to this day? It might be one.
Game that I would like to have back. Oh God.
I mean to get a little PTSD or nothing bad.
It works. Oh man, you got some great questions tonight too, man. Shout out to you, brother. You got some great questions. A game that I would love to have back. At junior college, I told you we was number one in the country. We go to nationals, Hutchinson, Kansas. We the favorites to win it all. A coach in America at nationals, watching us do our thing. We walk in, and we was one of them teams. We weren't cocky at all. We were confident, but we were never cocky or overconfident or anything like that. And we played, I think it was Three Rivers out of Missouri. Whoever we played the first night, South Plains or whoever's from Texas, really good team. We beat up on them, beat up on the next team. So we in the semis. Everybody has us and Vincennes from Indiana to play in the chip, and they have us to win. Now Vincennes got my man Big E Dub, Big E Rock, Eric Williams. Who else is on that team? Was Deion Jackson on that team? But they had a crew. E and them had a crew. They had us to play in the chip, and they had us to beat them. E and them go out, and they lost to somebody in their semifinals. So we like, yo, I think they lost to, was it Butler County or somebody, Kansas or somebody. So that's who we looking at. Or we gonna end up playing them in the chip. It wouldn't even been close.
Yeah.
So we like, oh, that's who we got. But not that we were overlooking the team, but anyway, we played this team, Three Rivers.
Mhm.
We jump out on it. We got about 30. Coach, we had an offense. We had this offense that we ran where it wasn't a stall. It was almost like a Princeton
Okay.
kind of an offense. Real safe, backdoor cut type of offense. It's great for moments, but you can't run that for an extensive period of time because at some point they're going to pick up on the cuts and all of that. Then they'll just stop playing it or whatever. And I think when you stop being aggressive, it can hurt you. Our coach tells us to go into that offense. It worked for a while. We was getting crazy layups. That's how we end up getting up by 30. But then when we come out from halftime, he wants to stay in it. We like, Coach, nah, let's get out of that. Like, we up 30. Let's go up 50. Like, let's go. Nah, just do this. I think he got nervous for whatever reason. Like, I think he smelled that national championship and he just wanted to preserve it. So he just went into this conservative type of basketball. We on the court telling him, Coach, let's come out of it. Let's stop. Let's do something else. I always hold that to me. I take the blame for that. Everybody tell me it ain't your fault. You listen to what Coach said. But I'm mad because I listened. Because I knew we should have got out of it. And I should have just started running something else. Man, we kept running this offense. So they figured it out. They're not playing it now. And we not scoring off of it. But we're not being aggressive now. And like I know, basketball a game of runs. So they go on their little run now. And it's you down 30, down 20. When you start getting to like 15, 13, 12, the gym going crazy because you climbing back. And they got it to 3. It's probably 2-3 minutes left. They down 3. They got the momentum. They point guard, who I'm guarding, he can't shoot to save his life. He can't shoot his way out of a paper bag. He comes down. We miss it. They get the rebound. They coming down court. He pulls up from Steph Curry range. Just ill-advised, just pulls up. And I remember I was on the wing when he shot it. And my man was guarding him. And I just watched. It looked like it was slow motion. And I watched the ball go through the air. And I said, it's going to go in. Like you could just feel it. And it went in. And it tied the game up, but you felt the air go out of us, yo. And they ended up beating us by like 2 or something like that. Yo, I was sick. Oh, I was sick. That game right there, out of all the games, you done had some games where you be like, I could have did this better. We could have did this better. That one right there haunts me to this day. Me and my man, Craig Tyson, I was telling you about, me and him talk pretty much every day. And at some point, that game will always come up. It'll always come up. He'd be like, yo, Jim, I knew we should have changed that play. Yo, he be tight. And we ended up losing, man, in the national championship, man. Well, the game to go to the national championship. So we ended up playing Eric and them in the consolation game. And we ended up smacking them. And but oh man, bro, that's a tough one. That's a rough one.
It's speaking of games, a hypothetical here though. We all Nork Y, you going up them steps, playing up there. I don't know. I'll throw out a team. Riverside Church Riverside Church coming to town. Who's on your starting 5 from your era? Who you to play against them?
Good Jesus. I love the question.
You can make it positionless. It's your 5. It's your 5.
Can I coach it? Or do I got to be on the team?
That's up to you. That's up to you.
All right, I'm gonna put myself as a coach.
Okay.
And I'm gonna make it because it's a lot of great players like in our era, but I'm gonna just put it like around my class, people who graduated like around my time. Dennis Leonard,
D-Rock. Mm-hmm.
D-Rock, Eric Williams,
Okay.
Luther Wright,
Okay. It's a lot of people who I could put there, but I'm just trying to think of a broad scope because I don't want to just limit it to like Newark, Irvington stuff like that. I'm gonna say James Scott Patterson. Yeah.
and probably Tariq Goodman.
Reek. Yeah. Yeah. Now you a player coach on this team, man, or you ain't trying to get no minutes? Yeah.
Nah, I'm just coaching.
You just coaching.
I'm just coaching. I'm just coaching on that.
Yeah. Let me ask from my area or what have you here, man. Yourself, you mentioned a couple of the guards. I'm missing people, and I don't do it intentionally. But you got D-Rod, you got Tariq. We could go Allen Watson. We can go. I don't know. You want to take it people that you go. Oh, cool. You could.
Yeah.
Elijah. You could talk about
Elijah, Horace Jenkins.
Yeah, everybody like. Who's the best out of all of y'all? Man? I forgot about Brev.
Brev.
Yeah.
Sheesh. I don't ever put myself in none of them conversations.
Well, a lot of people do. A lot of people put you in them.
And I'm humble, and you know what I'm saying. And I appreciate just that people appreciated the way that I play. But it's always been hard for me to talk about myself or describe myself. So I just always stayed out of it. Like I'm cool with, like, that's why I said, could I be the coach? Like, I'm good.
Yeah, I know you try to slip out of it. I knew that what that was.
Yeah, I'm all, we got Red, Lynn Smith,
Eddie Roberts, you got all these guys.
Williams,
You got all these guys. Yeah.
Eddie Fahim Williams.
Yeah.
Al Ray Blackman.
Al Ray, all of them, yes.
Ease Cox, Easy Malik.
Yeah, Mike Boyd, you got everybody.
Mike Boyd.
Yeah.
It's so many dudes, man. You know what? I'm gonna say it like this. I don't think that it's possible to Mark Brown, Earl Flanagan.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's possible to say who's the best.
Who's your favorite? Did you have a favorite?
Now, my favorites, Mark Brown, Pearl Flanagan, Al Ray Blackman. God, that was my guy.
Yeah.
Shit, Eddie Fa. Lynn Smith, because he did it on both sides of the ball. It's two guys. I'm gonna mention two guys. See if you're familiar with. One is a guy from Irvington by the name of David Glover.
Okay.
David Glover was probably the most talented guard I've ever seen.
Yeah.
With all the names that we're naming, he's probably the most talented guard that I've ever seen. And it was just God-given. It was just effortless. It was just natural. Him and another tremendous player by the name of Robert George.
Okay.
From Irvington. Those are two of the guys who I followed behind. And they were incredible.
Yeah.
Like they were incredible. I didn't realize how good they were because I was with them every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew they were special to me and what I saw, but I didn't realize how special they were until we used to go. You remember when they used to have the little summer leagues up at Uppsala College?
They play Upsala, yes.
So they used to have the little team camps and all that up at Uppsala College. And we would go up there. And I would go up there, sit on the stage and watch them play and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And Hubie Brown and Bob Hill from the Knicks.
Jersey guys, yeah.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Richie Adubato as well.
He coached at Upsala. One of them, right? Was it
Right.
one
Exactly.
of the right.
Yep. And I remember they were sitting, talking, all the kids be sitting down and they talking. And they said, it's 2 kids here that can come play with us now. They went in high school. And he said, David Glover and Robert George. And I looked at them and I was like, these are 2 NBA coaches saying that they can come play with them now.
Mm.
I already knew they were special, but I didn't realize how special till they said that. And I was like, and I get to hang out and be with them every day. I'm up under them every day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the level of competition that I came up under. You know what I'm saying? And Eric Murdoch, Lance Miller and his brother Lance and Dave Rivers, Kenny Wilson. Oh my God.
Jersey City, St. Anthony, yeah.
Yeah, man. It was a cat out of Snyder named Steve Frazier.
Mm-hmm.
Killer.
Yeah.
Killer. Kenny brother Darryl Wilson, it was just so many, and I'm missing a million of them. And I know. I don't mean no disrespect to nobody, just off the cuff, people just popping in your head. But it was just so many great players and so many talented players. And what about, and I know you can relate to this, there was so many talented players who didn't get a lot of spotlight, but from the area you knew.
Mm-hmm.
It was just nice.
Yeah.
They may have done other things. Like when we mentioned like the old Coops and stuff like that, who they were into a lot of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But these cats could go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just school might not have been at that time been their main priority.
Mm-hmm.
Or basketball might not have been their main priority at that time, but they were great at it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these are all of the kinds of people that we came up playing ball with and battling with, and it helped us to become and shaped us into who we became. So when I traveled and I went and played ball at school or different places, and all these people that we're naming and so many more that we didn't name, I took these guys with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was playing for them because I was like, I got a piece of all of them in my game. The Robert Jameses, rest in peace, Big Rob James, and Steve Worthies, and all these guys, Mike Goodson, and like I mean, so many guys, man. I took all these people with me because I wanted to make them proud. You know what I'm saying? When I did my thing. So when I got back home and he was like, "Yo, I'm proud of you. You did this," I felt like I did my job.
Yeah. Nah, that's peace, man. Like you probably threw a couple of names out on this one already, or in one in particular. Somebody who should have made it. However you define made it.
You could do a whole show on that.
Yeah, it was. You ain't lying.
I got a bunch of them in my head. I'm just trying to think of which one that I want to utilize for right now. My uncle, I would have loved to see him on that stage. Yeah. Tyrese Carter.
Okay.
I would have loved to see Uncle on that stage.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. The kid two of the guys that I named, Robert George, David
Mm-hmm.
Glover, I would have loved to see them in that element, that spotlight.
Yeah.
God, that's a
Nah,
tough
nah,
one.
nah. Three solids, man. Our family and your man you ran with. Your men's.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah. Best part about being Lance Jackson.
The best part about being me, I would say, is the love that I have for everybody, and I think the love that I receive from a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me feel like I have purpose.
Mm.
You know, it makes me feel like I'm doing the right things. You know, I could pretty much go anywhere and I'm good.
Yes.
It's based, like, people know that I'm genuine. People know that I'm sincere.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if I see you on the street somewhere, I'm not too cool or too proud to stop and give you a hug and tell you, look you in your eye and tell you, yo, Ib, I love you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or if I ain't seen you or talked to you in a while, yo, I miss you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You know, I hope you and the family are well. You know, let's hook up. You know, whatever, and mean that sincerely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of us don't do that enough. So that's the best part of me. I feel like the best part of being, you know, who I am is that transparent, sincere, loving guy, man, who will give anybody the shirt off of his back. And I feel like, you know, it would be reciprocated.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah. That's real. That's real. How about best part about being a father?
Oh man. Looking at the best part, or one of the best parts I'll say about being a parent, a father, is watching something that you know, and your lovely partner created,
Mm-hmm.
that's in the image of you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Watching what you have in you come
Mm-hmm.
out of them, and you just sitting there like sometimes I laugh at my son, one of my sons. I got twin boys. I got three boys, but you know, I got twins.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them, I'll be like, I'm gonna knock his head off because he's getting on my nerves. But it's everything that I used to do. So I
Yes.
gotta sit back and laugh.
You gotta
Because my
eat
wife will be
that.
like, that
Yeah.
ain't nothing
Yeah.
but you.
Yeah.
You know, that's why it gets on your nerves. So like I love seeing what, you know, what I was a part of creating,
Yes.
you know, and taking care of that and watching it become its own, you know, person and individual.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a beautiful thing to me.
Book on your life. What would you call it?
Oh, wow. Book on my life. That's dope. I like that. People keep asking me to do a book too. I'm like, for what? I ain't interested. Nobody want to hear nothing about me. Um, Triple Threat.
There we go. There you
Triple
go.
Threat.
There you go.
And I came up with that name because I felt like I was always a simple guy, but I like to be versatile at different things.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I feel like a book about me would be same thing, just telling people about different things about me, but that I went through, and how you can still persevere through anything.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And speak about perseverance here. This stage in your life, what advice would you give that 17, 18-year-old, 12th grade Lance? What advice would you give him?
So I would tell myself, listen more, talk less,
Mm-hmm.
and continue to do all the right things, make all the right choices. Because I had a good grasp of life. You know, my parents taught me the right way. I could say that they
Yes.
taught me and instilled all the right values, morals, and ethics in me. So I would just tell myself, don't be so impulsive. Don't just make decisions based off emotion. You know, don't react, respond. One of my old heads told me that. Don't react to things, respond.
Mm.
You know, that means you took your time, you thought about, you know, all the different ways that this can go, you dissected it, broke it down, and then you made an informed decision. So, think about things, wisely, make wise choices, and go from there, man. Listen, be a student of life. Listen.
Hmm. Hmm. Most definitely. And speaking of your parents, what would they say about you?
Well, my mom, like I said, my mom passed in
Yeah.
'05.
Rest
My
in peace.
dad's still my dad's still around. He's 82 years young,
Hmm.
doing this thing. Um, but they would say that, and this they used to always say this, you was always a good kid, a loving kid, respectful kid. My father says that to this day. He says, I'm so grateful that you were one of those kids. I never had no problems with you. You did kid stuff,
Hmm.
got in trouble here and there for little silly stuff the kids do. But overall, you were always a good kid. You were always respectful, never really got out of pocket, never, was out in the streets acting crazy. And you represented us well.
Yes.
When you went away and we talked to other people who interacted with you, they always spoke of what a pleasure you were, to
Hmm.
them or to be around you. So that was a great representation of my parents. So um, that's what they would say.
Yeah. Lance, thank you. Like I said, this has been an honor, and you know, I've had opportunity again yourself and a few others here just to have an opportunity to meet people I've heard of or, might have vaguely remembered, and it comes back to me as I'm thinking about it.
Right.
But I just wanted thank you just for hearing this and just to hear your journey, your walk, man. This has been great. I'm gonna share some. I know I talked to B Crawford recently, and when I told him I was gonna have you on, he's like L Boogie. He's like he didn't. Exact quote. He said he didn't drop out. He dropped in.
Yes, sir.
You know what I
Yes, sir.
mean? And he couldn't have said it any better, man. Just hearing everything, just a little bit of your walk here, that explains everything, man.
That's it, man. That's
Yeah.
it. And listen again, man. Um, I'm humbled, man, that you wanted to take the time out of your busy schedule, man, to just hear, little old me, man, hear my story,
Uh,
bro. I appreciate that, man. I don't take that lightly, man. That means a lot to me. And I'm proud of you, bro, for what you're doing, man. The light that you're shedding on a lot of our talent and our great brothers and sisters, man, doing their thing.
mhm.
So thank you. Um, for uplifting us, you know what I'm saying, and spotlighting us, because without people such as yourself, like, we're, who are we? You know what I'm saying? So thank you for what you do, man, for everybody, man. This is huge, brother. This is huge, and I thank you. And anything I could do to help in the future, whatever, man. I'm a phone call away, brother.
Nah, I appreciate it. And like I said, everybody, this has been a blast. This has been a complete blast. So nah,
Yes, I
thank
see
you.
you got that slow mo on. That's my
Now,
guy, my baby.
Mark Jarrell, absolutely. Yeah,
Yes, sir. That's my
yes,
guy.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah, man. I gotta get you
definitely.
some.
Shout out
I
to
gotta
him.
get you some of this triple threat apparel too,
There
man.
we go. Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
indeed.
Nah,
Yes,
nah.
indeed.
Nah, thank you, family, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Nah,
Likewise.
I appreciate it, man. And like you said,
Likewise.
we'll definitely be in touch, man. Even if it's just to check in and say what's up, man.
No question. No question. Looking forward to it, bro. And when this weather starts
Yeah,
breaking,
I had a feeling he's gonna get back to that golf thing.
yeah, yeah, we definitely get back there.
Okay. All right. Nah, I'll come through on it. I'll come through on it.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No
9
doubt.
holes though. I ain't doing 18.
No doubt.
All right, now we'll talk, family.
Okay.
All right, no doubt. Peace. Wow. Joys of doing this. Joys of doing this here. Lance, thank you. Thank you. You all just giving me some of this time here. Well worth the wait here. And again, I'd appreciate everything, man. Nothing said here. With that being said, I'm just gonna step away. I put my hand over my heart. That means I feel you. Yeah.